Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Great to be with you. Fine Ballsmic Wednesday to you and yours. As I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. If you do, go back, get caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours provided for you upon the conclusion of the show. There on iTunes, you can find it, rate, review, share with your friends. You can also find it on the webpage, ESPNTallahassee.com, on Twitter, at @JCameron Show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Don't forget, you can watch the show on YouTube and Periscope, and we appreciate those of you who do. Thanks for watching. Now, we've had a couple of hard drives on the computers here in studio go down, so we're kind of, we're working through it. And by saying we, it's Tom. Tom's working through it. I'm just sitting here doing the show.
Director Matthew has taken over a lot of things. He's doing video and audio.
Video and
split
audio,
that
yeah.
up. Little AV split.
Are you doing anything other than talking to me today? What are you doing today?
The board requires a little bit more hands-on manipulation.
All right.
So I'm keeping time on that.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. So you're telling me don't curse, Jeff. We got no means by which to.
Boy, don't even put that out there, because then I'll do it.
Well, no,
I'm the only one who has.
You're the last one to cause a problem here, not me. It's you or Ira. But at least when we use Seminole headlines,
foul-mouthed show fell.
Yeah, that's right. At least with Seminole headlines, because we have to do it in the morning, we can go back and beep those. And when our systems are working properly, we can beep me in show if it happens. Sometimes I'll do it intentionally to keep you on your toes and make you beep it. But for the most part, it's just been you. When you had to have it, it's Tom falling to pieces.
Well, you did have the one last week, though. You did have
but we
the
beeped
one.
it. We
yeah,
were able
beeped
to. I pointed to you. Oh, I was mad. There was something to be said there.
About the officiating, yes. The true dump that we needed, the button I needed to hit was the Barry Bonds and John Smoltz story. That was years ago, but that was my last one.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. Florida State at home tonight, the TLC Double C, where you do not, nay, just stroll on in and expect to walk away with a victory. You know, I used to say that tongue-in-cheek, and I used to say that sarcastically, and I used to say that almost as a way to have a little fun with the ineptitude or the relative average nature of Florida State basketball over the years. Now I say it as a point of pride. I say it and mean it, and I say it because what we've seen with this coaching staff and these kids over the last several years is a very real home court advantage, a significant, duly noted nationally, home court advantage. It's almost like we were able to speak it into being, man. If you will it, it is no dream.
Will it to you, Riggs?
And it happened, man. It did. I wanted this so bad. I mean, tasted it briefly in the early 90s. Used to hang out with my buddies, and we'd walk over to see games and while we're in school, and it was an electrifying run there in 92, 93. But, then you go long stretches at a time where certainly nothing about high-level basketball was synonymous with Florida State. There was the occasional good team that would make the tournament, and you'd hope put together a little run here or there. But you kind of just got used to the fact that we weren't a major player in the ACC, and some of those points we were downright god-awful. But what we're also having to get used to now is the antithesis of those days. We are a major player in the ACC. It's not a flippant remark. It's a fact is what it is, statistically or otherwise. We're a major player this year, just as we were a major player last year and the year before. And we have an opportunity, I think, to win the league this year. And I get nervous about that because I've wanted to see Florida State win the regular season ACC title. They've not done it. The Noles have not won the regular season ACC title. Certainly we did win the conference tournament in 2012. But I look at this team now as one that is a viable contender. Part of it is that Florida State has continued to recruit exceptionally well, and they play very, very well week in and week out, consistent on the defensive end. They have their moments on offense where they really string together several possessions where you think, well, here's what's possible. And I'm talking about this team is a work in progress currently. but they've been a work in progress that found their way into the top 10 by winning a whole bunch of games, 7 in a row, in fact, and that's the other part of it. Florida State's won 14 of their last 15 contests. And you go back to that Florida win. At the time, Florida was ranked number 6. We go down to Gainesville, a lot of us very uncertain about what Florida State's going to be. Remember, kind of a refresher course now that football is over. College football is done with for now, and yes, with the new coaching staff, we're watching their every move. But it's fair now to switch gears and really get into basketball. And as we do so, just a reminder that Florida State A is ranked number 9 in the country, single digit right next to their name. They're tied right there with Duke atop the conference, and they have opportunities now as the 9th-ranked team to put together an 8-game winning streak. That would mark the second year in a row they've put together an 8-game win streak. Also would mean they've won 15 of 16. It would also mean they've won 4 out of 6 against Virginia. I mean, we're talking about the defending national champions coming in here tonight. There's a lot on the line, and Florida State, while it is a long season, has positioned themselves awfully nicely to be 1, 2, or 3 in the ACC and somewhere in that vicinity in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, ordinarily you say something like that at this juncture of the season, people might raise an eyebrow and say, come on now, slow your roll. Let's not get crazy. It's a nice basketball program. It's a good team, but they're not going to be a 1 seed, Jeff, in the NCAA tournament. They're not going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're not even going to be a 3 seed. You sure about that? Look around college basketball right now. There are some blue bloods that are struggling, and they're struggling right here in the ACC. I mean, North Carolina is dreadful. Virginia comes in tonight having lost 2 straight games and not look good doing it either. They're a team that really struggles to score right now, and it's going to be interesting tonight if Virginia does get this game bogged down. How do we respond? Because Virginia is still elite on defense. There's no doubt. They're only giving up 48 points a game. They're still very elite on defense, and that's how, where they have garnered some wins, 11-4 on the season, they have been able to do it by suffocating teams. For Florida State, it's been a nice combination. Florida State can score, but Florida State can really defend, and, of course, the Noles are really deep. I want to see how early in the game do we attempt to speed them up. We were able to do that in the second half of the game against Wake. We sped them up. You can do that. Get out and run, speed the game up. Let's see, or if you pressure them, you can speed the game up. So let's see if we do that. Virginia just hasn't had the horses. And it's why, again, you lose Kyle Guy and Jerome and guys like that. I get it. It's hard to be the monster that the Cavaliers were a year ago. But I didn't see the fall-off being this significant on the offensive end. Again, it's still an elite team on defense, but offensively, they really struggle with consistency.
Well, you've got a chance to obviously be in a 3-way tie for first in the conference with a win tonight. Mm-hmm. Louisville and Duke being 5-1. You could look at it a couple of ways. You could say, man, I wish the conference and college basketball looks, if it looked like this last year, what would last year's team have been? I mean, they would have been easily inside the top 5 at different points of the season overall. They would be a favorite to be number 1 in the conference, to do maybe the sweep. You win the conference in the regular season, then you also win the conference tournament. We would be a favorite right there if that's what Virginia looked like last year, if that's what North Carolina looked like last year. Even that group that won 26 games a few years back. If this was the ACC and the college basketball landscape that existed in that year, we would be on the 3-seed line, the 2-seed line for the NCAA tournament. There's no doubt. We found a good year. If you look at it from the positive side, we picked a good year to have some projects, to have some problems that we're sorting through for an entire season. Because the entire field for this tournament, wide open. This is not like it has been in years past where you have open and shut. There's Kentucky, there's Duke, there's Michigan State or Michigan. It's not like that at all. It's open for business. And if we continue to develop offensively, to pair it with our effort, our relentless effort on the defensive end, why not us? That's the conversation.
Yeah, I think that is the bigger conversation, which is why not us, right? And it's hard because, again, when you're not associated closely with college basketball's elites, sometimes you have to kind of pinch yourself and remind yourself that it is entirely possible. There are many programs who were not associated with the college basketball elites until they were, until they went on a run. Florida is a prime example. Historically speaking, Florida was an also-ran. They had some nice moments, just like Florida State's had some nice moments, but they never really accomplished much. And then all of a sudden they won back-to-back national titles. And now they get what's left over with that is this, they have curried favor with the elites. there are players that still consider going to Florida on the regular because of that success under Billy Donovan. They really haven't done anything since.
Well, and think about who we are rubbing elbows with on our side of the bracket, it seems, the last few years. I mean, Michigan's been there. That's a team that's a little bit more tradition-rich, but obviously they're kind of up and down. Texas Tech,
who's really
but there they are consistently in that conversation. Gonzaga, they weren't always, but now they're a fixture there. But that's who it seems like we're always kind of grouped
matching
with.
up with right now. Yeah, no, it's exciting to think about. And again, a lot going on for Florida State in the positive right now. I mentioned the 14 out of 15 and the 7 straight, the top 10 ranking, a chance to take out Virginia again, which would make you winners 4 of the last 6. In the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to go ahead and do a Tallahassee game day court report. It'll be the final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, but we turn it into Tallahassee game day court report because this is a big game and a chance to again solidify. You mentioned a 3-way tie. It would actually just be a 2-way tie. Of course, we have the tiebreaker over Louisville since we beat their ass at the Center.
Well, of course, but isn't there like probably a 3-way tiebreaker procedure that
procedure is that we beat their ass head to head, and then we would be tied atop with Duke, and they would be looking in on the proceedings. But at this point, I have allowed my thoughts to go there. My thoughts to go to Florida State can win the conference. They can regular season title. Man, make it happen. Go for it. Make it happen. I mean, I know they're trying to do that, but I've seen them win the tournament, and that was all well and good. It was exciting. It was an interesting time for me because I was stuck off the air as a consultant and trying to get back on and all that good stuff. And but I've wanted that regular season title to boot.
What's interesting is the CY interview where you did the long form with Ira earlier in the week. You combine that with some of the stuff they've talked about in the offseason and how the Elite Eight run when you're on the brink of going to the Final Four. Because if you get just past that game, you've got St. Mary's, you got Sister, whatever her name is.
Loyola Chicago.
Loyola Chicago. Yeah,
you're going to beat
whatever.
them.
You got the religious school with the nun. And you're going to beat them. You're going to go play in the title game. You ain't going to win that title game, but you're going to be there.
But you're going to be there, yeah.
The conversation around that Coach Young was talking about, change Leonard. Changes perspective. And you can kind of see that in the way this group is talking about the accomplishments of the regular season so far, the accomplishments of the program. They are consistently answering questions about expectations, saying, that's great that we're top 10. We want to be number 1. And it's not, tongue-in-cheek. It's not riding the wave of momentum and yearning for the glitz and the glam. They are 100% invested in that goal in a way that's more real than it has been probably ever. I mean, at least in the Leonard Hamilton era.
Yeah, it's weird, too, because they've accepted it, we haven't accepted it. I think that...
That's correct,
yeah,
yes.
They've accepted it. I don't think that the fan base, and to some extent, and I'm the conductor, I'm choo-chooing this thing left and right, and I don't even know that I believe it. And I'm forever pointing out the highlights of this program because I do think they get shortchanged. I do think he gets overlooked in discussions about the better coaches in the conference. And the numbers are the numbers. They're there. They're irrefutable. And yet, admittedly, when you get down to brass tacks and you ask me, do I think Florida State's a national championship contender in basketball, I don't reflexively say yes. I have to stop.
Yeah.
I always throw out a bit of a caveat because I just don't. I think. Hey, listen, 48 years on this earth, and they've not been a national championship contender.
Right.
So it's just kind of.
Leonard steps on the train and you say, "Where to, Coach?" Monaco. The tracks don't go there, Coach. Yes, they do, Jeff.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
conduct away.
It's exciting. But you know what? Programs that find themselves in a position to make a Final Four or go on a great run, or just let's just keep it modest and or let's keep it focused. How about this? Let's keep it focused on the regular season because we're in the midst of the regular season. The tournament's a different animal. It is, and there's some things I like about that and some things I hate about that. But there are two things that happen with the kind of expectations we're describing and the willingness to take those on, and that is you win games like this. You win games at home against a defending national champion that you're favored to beat, that is transitioning from the team they were a year ago, that has struggled to score, coming into a place where, frankly, whether they're elite or upper echelon or even average, teams have come here to lose basketball games. That's what they've done. I don't care if you're Louisville, with Pitino having it rolling. I don't care if you're Duke with Krzyzewski.
It's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter. Teams have come in here and just found it awfully difficult to win. Now you got a wounded animal, and in maybe some ways that hurts us tonight because Virginia will come out and play very desperate. They have lost 2 straight. It's an opportunity, and it's pretty cool and complimentary to say this about Florida State basketball, but it's an opportunity for them to get a signature win because they really don't have one this year. Virginia doesn't really have a win where you're like, oh, hang your hat on that one. That's going to help you during the selection process. No, they don't really have that win. This would be that win. So that's a compliment in and of itself that the defending national champions are in search of a signature win.
Yeah.
They could get it tonight against Florida State.
Well, I get used to this, too, this uncomfortable feeling, because if you take care of business tonight, even if you don't and you win all the games between now and, say, North Carolina coming to town on a Monday night, right? I mean, that's
North Carolina's ass out. They're terrible.
Well, but still, like, that's just weird that a Virginia team that just won the title that's been perennially where they've been ranked every week the last 2 years. This is the first time they haven't in that long. For them to come into town and they're more than a 2-possession dog in this game, and it's rightly so because we're a top 10 program. Uncharted territory.
6 consecutive weeks for Florida State in the top 25. Plenty more on this basketball game, again, featuring 14-2, 4-1 in conference. Number 9, Florida State, unranked 11-4, 3-2 in conference, Virginia. So should be fun. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You and I have not had a chance to reflect on what we saw in the national championship game. I did so yesterday with the fellas from Seminole Headlines. You and I will do it next on the Jeff Cameron Show.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
CaliBar.com. Whether you're feeling the upstairs at the Corner Pocket or lounging down at the 7th Hill Tap Room, your game day is always covered. 2475 Appalachie Parkway, right next to Earth Fair. Milwaukee and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener are nothing but heavy duty. Purchase a Milwaukee M18 Fuel Brushless Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get your choice of a free M18 Fuel Sawzall or M18 Fuel High Output 8.0 battery, a $199 value. Or buy an M18 Fuel 4-piece brushless pack-out kit with a rolling toolbox for only $4.99. A Cornerstone special. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. Big store pricing with local service. 1110 Stuckey Ave or 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
Hey, Big Bend community. Budget Printing is here for all your printing needs and promotional products. We offer competitive pricing and timely service. And we're not just all about paper. We have a variety of customized products, including t-shirts, koozies, banners, and pens. So when you want your name on it, we've got you covered. Budget Printing. Stop by 1366 Blountstown Street or give us a call, 850-576-3332.
Hey, Tallahassee, it's me, the Capitol Building. I know you've cracked some jokes about my awesome tower and perfectly symmetrical domes. It's okay, because from on high, I see a serious problem in this town. Scores of people like yourself, confused, hungry, not knowing what to eat for a delicious downtown breakfast or lunch. Well, have no fear. Just a stone's throw away from my observation deck are the best people in the business. Metro Deli. Breakfast, eat, sandwiches, and wraps, too. Metro Deli is the spot for you. Oh, yeah, Metro Deli. And hey, don't throw stones from my deck. That's not cool. Someone might get hurt.
Ashley Home Store's anniversary mattress sale is in its final week. It's your last chance to get a king mattress for the price of a queen mattress on select Ashley Sleep, Sealy, and Beauty Rest mattresses. Or get no interest for 6 years on select Tempur-Pedic and Serta iComfort mattresses starting at just $12 a month. Hurry, the anniversary mattress sale ends Monday only at the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in North America, Ashley Home Store. This is home. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Oh no, this car ride's taking forever. I hate blindfolds. No more of these. Where are we going?
Bumpus Local 349.
Yay! I love Bumpus Local 349. It's a local business.
I wish they had piñatas.
Me too. But I think I'm going to order the Dolphin Reuben instead.
You know, it's not really dolphin.
Yes, it must be mahi, right?
Delicious.
Yes.
Eat local, be local, and drink local at Bumpus Local 349.
Help me with my blindfold.
This hour of the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shera Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Do you want to live to be 103? 67% of the audience said, nah, seems like a toughie.
I mean, honestly, those are just young people voting on that. I'd want 103, I think, at around age 84.
And I think we're going to make some advancements that allow people to live better at that age as we learn. Although there is the chance, though, that we just blow up the entire world before then. So you're just going to be drowning in a nursing home.
Yeah, whatever advancements make their way, you'll only have access to. It might trickle down to us in a few generations.
We've been holding out for these advancements for a long time, you and I. We've been talking about this for 15 years. I have no advancements yet.
No, but the median age of death in the world is less than it used to be. Like, people used to die at 33, man.
Okay, sorry.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So I was thinking about this today and a little bit yesterday. There's a part of me that feels really happy for, but also sad, oddly, for Ed Orgeron. On the one hand, they caught lightning in a bottle, and he is a national champion and is the head coach of record for one of the greatest seasons ever engineered by any program in college football history. Those wins aren't going anywhere, and that national title's not going anywhere. It'll always be on his resume. He'll always have that to reflect on, and certainly it's got to be life-enriching. It's got to be so satisfactory for a guy that has been the butt of an awful lot of jokes. Now, he was the butt of an awful lot of jokes for good reason, especially when you look at his time at Ole Miss, but also if you look at his early days in coaching, where he's admitted he had a hard time keeping it together. A man is fond of a good time. And
he admitted that, huh?
Yeah, at various points he's kind of admitted it took him a while to gather himself and understand that opportunities are afoot, that I can't blow these opportunities. One of the reasons that Coach Orgeron kept getting jobs, and he's worked a lot of places, is because he's considered to be an elite recruiter. So you're going to get jobs. You're going to be on somebody's coaching staff if you can recruit. And he can recruit. And you can see why he can recruit. I mean, he's fun to poke fun of from a distance with the gravelly voice, and he's a Cajun and all that stuff, and you can kind of yuck it up with him. And maybe because of that stereotype to some degree, he's not thought of as an elite coach, like an X's and O's coach. He's just thought of as a guy that could be motivational, certainly great in recruiting, fun-loving to be around, but not a guy that gets credit for being a real good football coach. And I think that sometimes is really unfair when you have that kind of personality, that maybe you don't get the credit in some of the more strategic areas of the game. But that happens, and you couple it with the record at Ole Miss where he was god-awful, and you think about him getting fired there, and you think about the perception of what he was when LSU made the decision almost as a fallback, almost as a, well, we kind of didn't get the guy we wanted for a couple of years, and the program seemed to be in flux. Let's just give it to this guy for now, and at least he loves the university. At least he loves this program, and he'll give us his heart and soul, and the kids will play hard for him. And if it doesn't work out, well, we will have saved some money. He'll recruit well, and we can move on with somebody bigger and better when the rising star is readily apparent, and we'll tag him to lead our program from there. But lo and behold, he wins a national title, and he's going nowhere, and rightfully so. But the part of me that feels kind of bad for him is this, and we'll see. I hope I'm wrong to some extent. But this very much has a Gene Chizik feel to it. I think we all know Gene Chizik benefited disproportionately by having Cam Newton. Cam Newton, much the way Vince Young did at Texas, won that program the national title under Gene Chizik. He was transcendent. He was a different level player. We see good college football players come down the pike. We see Heisman Trophy winners come down the pike. And then we see guys that are different level, even amongst those. And you say, Cam Newton didn't look like anybody else we had ever seen play the position. And what I mean by that has nothing to do with race and everything to do with that guy was a man amongst boys. His body type, it's still, even in the NFL, when you see him stand next to players, you're like, holy moly, that is a different level athlete. And thank goodness he stole a laptop at the University of Florida, or else we would have been screwed watching him do that in the blue and orange.
And thank God Urban Meyer values laptops over women.
Apparently.
Yes.
So that happened. And we looked back on it, and pretty shortly thereafter, Auburn went back to being Auburn. Good, but not great. And obviously in desperate need of somebody that kind of transformational at the quarterback position to prop up Gene Chizik. And soon, Gene Chizik was out of a job. Joe Burrow and Joe Brady, that is a combo that put together as prolific a campaign as we have ever seen. I don't think, and I agree with Kirk Herbstreit in this, that I've ever seen an offense that consistently dominant. And Florida State was elite, and Jameis Winston and Florida State broke records. And it was, until this year, the offense that I cited, along with a couple of others throughout the country over the years, that I thought were, probably my top three all-time 40-plus years of following and loving college football. But this one, I think, topped it. And I think the LSU season and the season certainly Burrow had topped it. Well, he's gone, okay? They got lucky. He came there. You don't think an Ohio kid's going to come to Louisiana, adopt the place the way that he did, and then go through a transformational season. He goes from 16 touchdowns to 60. To 60. I don't care how great Joe Brady is. I don't care how great Joe Burrow's work ethic is or the tools that he has to work with are. Nobody predicts from one year to the next that a guy's going to throw 16 touchdowns to 60. It all comes together. He's extremely bright. Brady comes in, transforms the offense. Ed O gets credit for that because he remembered hearing him speak at a clinic put on by the Saints as an assistant, basically, one of many on the staff with the Saints, talking about offense, and it stuck with Ed. It stuck with some other coaches at the university, and they thought, that kid's going places. That kid's bright. That kid, And when Orgeron realized, we got to do something different. We have all this skill level. We have all this talent. Obviously, the state of Louisiana has got a ton of talent, especially in the trenches. But every year we get receivers. Every year we have running backs. And we just don't move the ball consistently. We have to win with our defense. And I'm sick of it. The one thing keeping us back is a much more forward-thinking offense, prolific passing game. So Burrow comes in, and then Brady comes in, and he engineers this offense, and the SEC is caught off guard. Really, all of college football is. Hell, if you really want to give credit to Brady and Burrow, and Orgeron for that matter, think about this. Brent Venables is the best defensive coordinator in football, and he had no answers. A 269-yard, 21-point second quarter. I don't care the rest of the game. You look at that moment, Venables is on his heels, and he has no answer. and he's the best there is in the game at making adjustments and preparing. And they came out the gates swinging, throwing haymakers. They had LSU pinned. They were confused with the scheme. They were getting home. Burrow looked lost. The adjustment is made, and voila, I'm going to hang a number on your defense that nobody's done anywhere close to all season long or in the last 3 years, period. But those two guys are now gone as we sit here today. Brady takes the job, unfortunately, with the Carolina Panthers. Damn it. And he leaves. And Burrow is now gone. And I just suspect that LSU is going to go back to being LSU, which is a good program, nothing that touches this. And I wonder how long Ed Orgeron will be there. He's a deity today. He's a god amongst the faithful there today. But I do wonder, he'll never touch this again. His resume prior to this year suggests he has no chance to touch this again.
Well, who will, offensively speaking?
No, but I
no
just
team.
mean,
There's not a likelihood that a team will ever touch these kinds of numbers.
No, there are good offensive teams. I think Clemson will be really good again on offense next year, and they'll put up prolific numbers. And yes, this is the season for the ages. It is the standard now.
I'd also argue that Burrow's season is better than Jameis's season. I think that's just true. The completion percentage, the yards per attempt are still the same. Actually, it's a little higher for Burrow. But I would say our offense was better in 2013 than this offense was. If you look at efficiency as a whole, running game, passing game, however you want to play it, we'll play it. We'll beat your ass. They have the best quarterback, but we have a better rounded group of athletes.
Yeah, either way. I mean, listen, Florida State's in the conversation. This was the best offensive season I've ever seen a team have. Just it's unreal what they did, especially when you look at that schedule and the games the number of games. You factor in that they played against top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty absurd. Where they win is what they just did. We got hurt by that national championship game. It really set us back.
We did, but, that's...
I'm saying you're splitting hairs when you're talking about the best of all time, and we're going to lose because of that game. What they just did to Clemson's defense, a defense that gives up 11 points per game. I mean, we said the reason that we thought Clemson had a very good chance was because of that defense, and they shredded it.
Thanks, Jimbo, by the way, for that.
Well, but we
picks up the signals, and maybe we drop 45 or 50 in the title game.
Agreed, but
Certainly.
we don't need to get bogged down in that. I'm just the point I'm making is good for Ed Orgeron. On the one hand, you capitalize when you catch lightning in a bottle. You got to make it work. You got to make it happen. When you get something that you search your whole life for, and you've got gold, you got to cash it in. Got to make it happen, and he did. And that never goes away. That title will be there forever. He'll be held on high for as long as he lives. He can go anywhere in the state of Louisiana. He's never paying for another drink. Joe Burrow, for that matter, you talk about a legend in the game now. His status in the history of college football is going to be that of a top 50 player. He can, he should move to whenever his pro career is done in Cincinnati, which will be short. He should just move on back to Baton Rouge because he could be mayor, that's for sure.
Yes. He cemented his legacy not only in that game, but in the postgame. Smoking the cigar in his uniform.
Yeah. It's
not
awesome.
in street clothes, in his uniform.
No, everything about it's great. It's fun. Good for them. It's just, I do think the crash is going to be pretty hard. They got good players, Tom. They got good players, but this was truly special. They destroyed teams. The only game they didn't just run over people was the Auburn game. The Florida game was a little contentious, but even then, if you look at yards per play, and they scored in the 40s,
Mm-hmm.
That Auburn game is the lone wolf in that schedule where it's close, 23-20, whatever that was. But everything else is an ass beating, and they're dropping numbers that you never see in the SEC for starters. And then they did it against Clemson's defense, which we both have immense respect for. That's a season for the ages, and I think the come down from that will be pretty steep.
There will always be a come down from a season for the ages, though, by definition. To me, it's just if you're LSU, you hope that this allows quarterbacks to lift the stigma on the program and say, I'm going to consider LSU. Brady might not be there, but if you've got somebody who worked with him, who knows the principles.
They have their current OC. He's not going anywhere.
Well, of course not, but you know what I mean. Like they can sell it. You got to be able to sell the vision. That, listen, Brady's not here, but the offense is still the same. This is still a great offensive, fun offense. We have all the playmakers in the world. That's what you have to hope, is that you can parlay it into interest from top-level blue-chip quarterbacks the way Clemson did. They're on a quarterback run of all time with Deshaun Watson followed by Trevor Lawrence with a little pit stop with Kelly Bryant along the way.
Yeah, It's a little different, man.
But I think they're going to recruit the trenches more consistently, given that Louisiana kids are going to stay in Louisiana.
But they've always had trench play. That's the thing. They just never had quarterback play. They never had They never really slung it around the lot.
Clemson didn't have Watson until they had Deshaun Watson. Cole Stout started against us in 2014.
Yeah.
And since then, Kelly Bryant is not the level of the other two that has started on the either side of him.
He's good.
But that's not bad for a drop-off season in terms of talent.
No,
yeah, and that's where they've been for 6 years.
Yeah, no, they've recruited the best quarterbacks in the country, and they've done it. They've had more than one. LSU has not. Yes, you're right. They'll use it to try to sell it, but man, okay. They'll fool somebody. If I'm a top-notch quarterback, sorry, if you're giving me opportunities, I'm looking at a lot of places. Now, I like LSU. I like the culture. I like the fans. I like the city. So maybe I would consider it either way, but if we're just talking about which offenses have a chance to be prolific moving forward with a level of consistency, I think there are quite a few programs I would choose over LSU because of the loss of Brady.
But they were probably 12th to 15th. I mean, if you just look at the way the quarterback play was, they need transfers all the time.
Yeah.
They always need. So what does that tell you? That people are going to mid-level ACC, SEC programs before they go to LSU because there's just a reputation.
My point exactly. And I think that's what's going to return to. And that's why I think he'll go back to being, whatever he is. He captured it, made the most of it. Good for him. Can't take it away from him. To be clear, when I say pitied to some degree, I don't mean that you're going to lose sleep over poor Ed Orgeron. He's making millions of dollars. He's won in a state that he cherishes. He's now a legend. The national title ring fits, I'm sure, perfectly. Nothing will ever put a damper on any of those accomplishments. It's just that if you're looking for a second act, I don't think you got a chance to come anywhere close to that one. And maybe in terms of prolific offenses, you never did. But
typically the recruiting class that sees the most impact is the next year's recruiting class from a national championship. So that would be, in a weird way, that is actually this December, the early signing period. Listen, if LSU just won a title with that man who's so much fun, and you capture all of that energy, and you could choose going there versus going to play for Nick Saban, who he may not be, but it looks like he's slipping right now. I mean, isn't this the time to strike? If it was an Alabama year where they, all they did was they lose in the playoff, or they lose in the championship game, you might say, well, it doesn't matter. Alabama will be the team. They're always the team. But after this season, they didn't even make the playoff. You've got the time to sell the vision about where to go in the SEC. You may be right. I'm just saying it's more open for business than it's been in about a decade in that conference.
It's very exciting. Auburn had a chance to sell what they were putting together there, the special nature of their program.
Oh, my God.
On the heels.
How ridiculous was that?
But it didn't happen, right? They came even nowhere close.
That wasn't a 15-0 run. They didn't finish the job, and they lost a few games along the way.
Well, I'm talking about when they did finish the job and Cam Newton did win.
Oh, the Cam Newton season.
No, that
I
was
thought you meant Art.
No, that was a special season. I could have capitalized on that.
But Orgeron's way better than Gene Chizik.
I don't know.
They're recruiting at a top 5 level before this kid even transfers over from Ohio State. And obviously his record is not 3-0, whatever the record was that my man at the tarmac is yelling.
Tom went on to win awards in college football as a position coach. I mean, how quickly we dismissed Gene Chizik. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Oh, yes, you've thought about it, but now it's time to enjoy the moss-drenched live oak, rolling hills, and pristine greens of Southwood Golf Club. Our friends at Southwood Golf Club offer individual, family, and student memberships, and now offer the all-in membership. That's right, never pay a cart fee when you play. Don't forget, at Southwood Golf Club, it's not just about the golf. Hit the clubhouse for brunch, or maybe enjoy trivia night, live music, happy hour, and all-you-can-eat night specials, too. For membership information or to join right now, just call 850-942-4653. Southwood Golf Club is ready to make you a member. 850-942-4653.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Well, would you look at this goodness? Our friends at For the Table Hospitality are doing the right thing per usual. It's time for the 4th annual Tallahassee Wine Mixer and Mozfest. Tallahassee's best wine festival is back for another year right there in the shadow of beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. The date is Saturday, March the 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centrale Pizza Parm and Bar. VIP tickets are just $60 and feature unlimited wine sampling, unlimited charcuterie, ooh, fancy, unlimited mozzarella cheese, oh, forget about it, this is good stuff, unlimited games and a commemorative glass to boot. 2020 is going to be the best Tallahassee wine mixer yet. We'd certainly like to thank our friends at Visit Tallahassee for all of their help. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Tallahassee Wine Mixer.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
All right. Could Louis Anderson, the comedian?
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome. Is he
he's
alive?
not dead. Louis is fine.
No,
He's
John
actually in
Candy.
a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. Super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any kind of... He has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar?
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be, well...
Boars, I think they eat you, too, afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
Lisa's Paint and Body, now located at 2820 Mahan Drive. License number MV46050.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 11th annual 2020 Trent 10K, formerly the Trent Trot, in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts fourth grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which supports local families battling pediatric cancer. The foundation has supported 45-plus families to this date. The race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 25th, 2020. The 1-mile fun run starts at 8 a.m. and the 10K and 5K begin at 8:30 a.m. The 10K and 1-mile race are both Gulfwind's Grand Prix events. You can register online at eventbrite.com, search Trent 10K.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
I do want to make mention that one of the best linebackers I've ever seen has called it a day. I'm not going to lie, I'm excited to hear the news. I wish him nothing but the best. Don't know him personally, but anytime somebody who's 28 years old walks away from their chosen profession, you worry about the reasons and you worry about long-term effects, especially when that person's a linebacker. And that's Luke Kuechly. And if you watch that video as he's fighting back tears that he posted on social media, you can't help but feel for that guy. And I say that because a lot of people are emotional when they retire, no matter the job. But when you're that guy, I don't know that I've seen somebody play with more passion. I mean, people have played with equal passion, but it is pretty clear that that guy loves being a football player, loves playing the game, loves being a linebacker. And he said as much in his send-off, quote, "There's only one way to play this game since I was a little kid. Play fast, play physical, play strong. And at this point, I don't know if I'm able to do that anymore. That's the part that is the most difficult." And it's right there in the video that he had to stop and gather himself. And when he said that, quote, "I still want to play, but I don't know, and I don't think it's the right decision. I've thought about it for a long time. Now is an opportunity to step away with what's going on here." That's tough, man. That guy, listen, as a Bucs fan, I'm happy to see that the guy is leaving the division, is not playing football, and we don't have to. I mean, that's 2 less interceptions a game against the Panthers for Jameis, just because he's that good. I mean, Kuechly was the bane of his existence and really many quarterbacks in the league. He was one of the smartest, but also most physically gifted linebackers I've ever seen. And one of the things that would always amaze me as I watched him play was you see a ball go up, and next thing you know, you're 25 yards downfield. There's this ass stride for stride with a slot receiver, and he's 255 pounds. And then, of course, he was also a guy that would stick his nose in there and stuff the run. He's a guy that could play sideline to sideline, and he could really diagnose. So he was, in many ways, the perfect linebacker because he had the athleticism to cover. He had the strength and toughness to play the run and hit you, and he could certainly pre-snap diagnose with the best of them. So he had the intelligence to do what was necessary, and that's a tough blow for the Carolina Panthers because he was an integral part to their success for a very long time. And it's tough if you love football to see a guy like that walk away. He has some notable numbers here, Tom, that I wanted to get out there to folks because it really is staggering. He's one of 2 players to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in consecutive seasons. He joined Lawrence Taylor in that group. Obviously, we all know he spent his entire career there at Carolina. They drafted him number 9 overall out of Boston College. And he led the league in tackles and won the 2012 AP Defensive Rookie of the Year. He followed that up by winning the AP Defensive Player of the Year in 2013. He was selected to 7 straight Pro Bowls to end his career, 5 All-Pro selections. According to Elias, the only defensive player with a longer streak of Pro Bowl selections at the time that he retired was Mike Singletary, who, of course, is a Hall of Famer. He had 144 tackles last year. That's 5th most in the entire league. He played 94.6% of the Panthers' snaps each of the last 2 seasons. That is the 8th highest percentage amongst all linebackers in the league. He recorded an NFL-leading 1,092 tackles since he entered the league. So he leads the league in tackles from the day he stepped foot on the field for the first time as a starter to the day he is now retiring. The only other players with 100 tackles in each of the last 8 years, one other player. You know who it is? Hard to get right. Bobby Wagner is the only other player. Yeah. So most tackles since 2012, Luke Kuechly, followed by Bobby Wagner, followed by Levante David, who does not get his due.
Not at all. Maybe there's an opening for him on the Pro Bowl squad these days.
Yeah, and Thomas Davis is a distant 4th.
Wow, and they were together.
Kuechly led all linebackers in tackles. This is a staggering stat. This is a Hall of Fame stat. Kuechly led all linebackers in tackles, interceptions, pass breakups since he came into the league in 2012. That speaks to what I was talking about. He only missed 7 games in his career. All of those games that he missed were due to concussions. One of them was a scary one on a Monday night that we all saw. I thought at that time that was the end of his career. But it wasn't. He came back. But you look again, the list of notable players to make at least 4 Pro Bowls and to play the final game before the age of 30. It's a small list, but that list is primarily made up of either Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. This is the list of guys that went to at least 4 Pro Bowls but yet retired before the age of 30. You ready? Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Andrew Luck, Rob Gronkowski, Gale Sayers, Dick Butkus, Jim Brown, Kellen Winslow Sr., and Luke Kuechly. That is a list for the ages.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really rather remarkable.
Well, there's no doubt he's going. And just judging by the video and the way he talked about the will to play, and yet it's not the right decision, that means either somebody in his family got to him and said, "What are you doing?" or a doctor got to him and said, "What are you doing?"
Both needed to. I mean, we talked about it at the time. I mean, it's the man's life. He makes his decisions. But that night that he was crying uncontrollably as he came off the field and didn't have muscle control, I thought, we may need to want to call this one a career here. That's a toughie.
Well, and you talk about it just from the cold-blooded NFL perspective, and not the Buccaneers one, but the Panthers one. You talk about ultimate good news, ultimate bad news.
Yeah, you get Joe Brady, and then you lose Luke Kuechly.
In a matter of hours, right? You get this great, you're like, okay, well, we've got it on defense. Luke's got it on lock. I'm sure somebody said that up there yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
So you've got Luke and that mind on defense, on the field, a coach on the field, and then you've got this mind in the booth. Wow, we are going to be something. And one of them's gone.
It's gone. 14 tackles per game at BC, and it led to us jokingly, don't everybody take things so seriously, we said that Boston College at that time would find themselves a Greek or Polish linebacker, and they would dominate the entirety of the ACC year in and year out. And that is true. They did.
Speaking of that, just going by last names, it didn't make the difference in the game, but when Skalski gets ejected for targeting on Monday, that makes a huge difference. In watching the Skycam broadcast, which it was only on the app, but I pulled it up on the app anyway. I didn't care. It is liberating to not hear Chris Fowler for 4 hours call a game. I'm telling you, I heard the mashup of his calls on ESPN, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't hear that when it happened. Yeah. I could just think for myself. But Skalski and Burrow had a great matchup going. I mean, it was fantastic. And it wasn't about, checking into coverages in the back end versus Burrow checking at the line. It was about, am I coming on a blitz? Or am I going to drop back? It was a one-on-one battle, and Skalski got him.
Quite
4
a few
or 5
times,
times, but there were so many dropbacks, and by the end of it, LSU was probably 95% going to win anyway, but that was a huge ejection in the course of the game because that was a fun battle between a Skalski linebacker and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think LSU was going to win anyhow. That ejection happens when they're on the 5-yard line. They go on to score. At that point, the game is But the other thing I would say is it is a reminder of why I hate the rule. It was targeting, and I've had to concede this point now. In this case, more so than in other points that I've contended, it wasn't because his head is really dipped and it really is the crowd.
Absurd.
There was no way not to call it.
He almost hit him with his spine.
He did, and it's a dangerous tackle because he can break his neck. In many ways, that rule was originally put in place to protect the tackler. That said, do I think he was intending to do that? No. I get it, but we just got to get to a point where we stop making this so punitive. It can be a 15-yard penalty. It does not have to be an ejection. You don't have to kick people out of games for this. And they do it time and again, and there are moments where you can clearly see intent, and I think it's almost like reviewing other plays on a football field where you say, do I have clear, definitive evidence? If the answer is yes in a situation, okay, toss a guy. If you're just not sure, if it's happened too quickly and he happened to duck his head too low or he took the wrong angle, but he's not trying to hurt somebody, he's just trying to make don't throw people out of games. It happens all the time where they toss people out of these games. To me, they've gone overboard here. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with it.
Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shera Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
It's time for the Oliva Cigars tasting event at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Thursday, January 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. Try all the classic blends from Oliva with incredible discounts, exclusive deals, and great food and drinks. This event will be at the Cary Forest Parkway location. Stop by and bring a friend because you don't want to miss the amazing deals, exciting raffles, free swag, and all the fun. Don't miss the Jerry's Cigar Shop Oliva tasting event Thursday, January 30th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Only at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Cary Forest Parkway, Tallahassee's favorite cigar destination.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-track, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Bow Time beckons at breakfast because of one big word, bacon. But not just any bacon. Our big, buttery Bojangles biscuits are bursting with a bounty of bigger, better-than-ever bacon. But beware, this boon to bacon believers is so breathtaking, it leaves other biscuits bereft. Be gone with bad bacon and bring on a bold bouquet of flavor that makes butchers bask in its beauty. Get 2 fluffy, meaty bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for just $4. Boom. Bojangles. It's bow time.
Xfinity delivers the fastest internet, the most Wi-Fi coverage throughout your home, and the most Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. Only from Xfinity. Call, click, or visit an Xfinity store today to experience all Xfinity has to offer.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
It's hard to imagine a scenario where the Mets keep Beltran, believes ESPN's Mark Teixeira.
I think it's a tough spot for Brady Van Wagenen and the Mets front office that here we spent all this time trying to find our guy, a really great baseball mind, and Beltran is that. He's also a guy who cheated in the worst possible way during a World Series run. You cannot have that guy lead your team.
Part of the fallout from MLB's Houston Report, Astros fired manager A.J. Hinch and GM Jeff Luhnow. Red Sox parted ways with manager Alex Cora. NBA countdown's on as Zion Williamson's regular season debut. Pelicans anticipate their superstar rookie will return from knee surgery and make his first regular season start 1 week from tonight. Injured Lakers forward Anthony Davis out of 4th straight game tonight versus Orlando.
The satisfying crunch of Nature Valley Crunchy Bars can keep your family going, which means more outside fun for you. And with whole grain oats and real delicious honey, it's really tasty too. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Bars.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I hope you're doing well on this Balls McWednesday. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Miss anything, don't forget, we'll post it on our website. We'll also throw up the entirety of the show when it's over on iTunes. And hopefully you'll rate that sucker 5 stars and share it with your friends. Helps others find the show, I'm told. You can email it, or us, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. I'm woefully behind and need to send some return emails, some response emails to some really complimentary things that have been sent my way lately that I'm deeply humbled by. I some really kind emails, stretch of them. Thanks, guys. Good stuff. Thanks for listening. I'll get back to you. I've read them. If you think that bastard's not even reading them. No, I get there. I read them, but I'm so behind, then I get overwhelmed. I'm like a fat guy trying to lose weight. You got to take that first step, but it just seems so overwhelming. I got like 45 email responses I got to get to. I'm like, which guy do I start
45? Speaking of 45,
yeah,
I've had over 45 pizzas in the last 30 days.
Oh, man. So somewhere along the way, I'll get back to you, but I do appreciate your emails. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Periscopers. And don't forget, you can use the WTSM app if you'd like. Good stuff there. As sometimes I understand it can be difficult. It can be tough to get caught up with the terrestrial feed or the online feed, but you can use the WTSM app. That's a good thing. All right, I'm ready for basketball tonight. I know next hour we're going to get a little bit back into this again, and we're going to have a good time talking about Florida State, Virginia tonight. A little bit nervous in that obviously it's a big opportunity for Florida State to continue and progress down the line here towards perhaps putting themselves in a position to play for and win the conference championship. That's what I would like to see regular season-wise. We've won a conference tournament title. I'd like to win a regular season title. Got to keep winning games you're supposed to win. Florida State favored tonight by 6.5 over Virginia, and a Virginia team that really at times, they couldn't throw it into a bucket. They couldn't throw it into the ocean. They've really struggled to score. And I would like to believe our depth, our length, and our consistency of intensity on defense will see another errant effort from the floor for Virginia.
Yeah, the offensive efficiency is dreadful. They turn the ball over a bunch, and if you're just looking for, a Cliff's Notes version of the way to win this game and win it big, let the trends continue. Virginia turns the ball over a lot more than they have historically in their program. Typically, they take great care of the basketball, maximizing the value of the few possessions they play. But the increase in the turnover rate this year has been astounding. On the road, they turn it over on nearly 22% of their possessions, and a huge chunk of that is live ball turnovers. And what do? We are number 6 in the country in generating steals on defense. You've got a real chance for fast break points to rack up tonight and to allow you to force Virginia to play at a tempo that they don't like to play at.
Yeah, Kahay Clark has been terrible. And, they don't have, again, Kyle Guy. They don't have Ty Jerome, and they've really suffered from that. Mamadi, is it
Diakate?
I can never say his name. He's a good player. But they don't have much else right now.
No. And if you key on him, right? That's something obviously that we did with Jordan Wara in the second half of the Louisville game. We said, oh, really? So you're just going to be unconscious. Okay.
It's going to be you. That's what
it's
you're doing
going to be
today.
you. Now you're going to have to get the ball out of your hands. If you can do that defensively and say, all right, somebody hit some threes because you guys don't. Hopefully they don't tonight. And that's the key.
I didn't think I'd see a team really struggle the way they do to hit threes. My God. They have really, again, let's go over those games. Now, Virginia, again, I don't want to describe them as the pits of the world here. They're elite defensively. Elite. but they have lost 2 straight, and they come into this game 3-2 in the ACC. They're 11-4 overall. But Tom, did you know? Again, they'll be hungry tonight. Florida State is number 5 in the RPI, number 14 in the net. So when you look at the resume, you'd say, boy, this is an opportunity for Virginia. It's cool just to describe it that way because Virginia is in need of a quality win. They really don't have one. They're 64th in the RPI and 74th in the net. This would go a long way in helping their cause. There's a ton of basketball to be played. It is a 20-game ACC schedule now. This is, again, a situation where even if we win tonight, we're just 5-1. That would be 6 of the 20 games you're going to play in the league. Lots can change. Lots can happen. I got it. But I'm loving the consistency we're seeing from our team right now. And so far, I'm loving the consistency from what I'm seeing from Virginia's offense, which is that they're not real good.
If they play a clean game offensively in terms of turnovers, then that forces us to make some shots. And the question is, because Virginia plays a similar style of defense to Louisville, albeit at a much higher rate than Louisville does, but if our guards can get involved and take care of where they, in the half court, they can get to the spots that they want to get to at a rate like they did in the second half, especially against Louisville on the road, then, again, you've got a chance to run away with this thing, but you've got to make your shots. You've got to make your jumpers.
To my point about the consistency of poor play on offense for Virginia, I think people maybe just tuning in, and again, all of next hour is dedicated to this game, so I'm not spending a lot of time on it leading up to that, but at least acknowledging that we do play tonight at 7 at home, TLC Double C, with a chance to further our lead over Virginia in the ACC, and that's a big deal. But it is surprising that a program that recruits at the level that they do, that are the defending national champions, could come in this season shooting, 39.9%. That is good, folks, for dead-ass last in the entire conference. Dead-ass last in the ACC. That's especially true from beyond the arc, where they are 26.8% from 3. That, too, dead-ass last in the ACC. They have a negative assist-to-turnover ratio. They turn it over almost as many times, 12.3 per game, as their opponents. This season is an obvious example of great that you play defense, but you got to score every now and again, guys. Got to do something on the offensive end because they're elite defensively, but boy, offensively, they're elite in the wrong direction. They suck.
Well, so beyond the obvious question of making shots, right? That sounds like basic. You got to score points to win, like you were just talking about.
Well, it's like the NBA. They always talk about this, and then eventually you hear somebody go, "Well, it's a make or miss league."
The question, well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Kicking is a make or miss business in the NFL. Like that is something Schlereth would say.
Great technique from so and so, but it didn't go in. I'm going to need him to make
here's
those.
the thing about this 54-yarder. Kicking in the NFL, you got to make it or miss it. And that determines whether or not you're going to continue on in your career. But just from a matchup standpoint, what we do down in the post is interesting to me. We went small against Louisville, and
we've had to a few times. Yeah.
We're okay with conceding what that means on the glass. So if you miss some shots, then your second chance points go down. But we hit so many of them against Louisville, it really didn't matter. Didn't rack up a ton of fouls going to the basket either. Part of that was the officials swallowing their whistles. But again, against a better version of that style of defense tonight, what do we do in the post? Is this a game where Osborne comes to life? Do you have some sets for
Love
Dom?
that kid, by the way.
I mean, Kumaje had a huge game against Virginia last year in the tournament, and he wasn't exactly somebody we counted on night in, night out to play 25, 30 minutes. Fee also did too. But do you get somebody down there, and do they emerge? Because this is a huge test for some of those guys in the low post.
Would like to make mention here of some of the teams you just referenced. You talked about Louisville and what we were able to do in that game, and Louisville narrowly escaped last night. I don't know how many people saw this, but action last night in the ACC, Louisville trailed by 7 points, 61-54, at Pitt with 2.5 minutes to play in regulation. They rallied, came back to tie that game, sent it to overtime, and they won in overtime 73-68. But they are really, since being ranked number 1 in the country, they have really fallen on some hard times. I say that it's all relative. They're number 10 in the country, but still, they're not a juggernaut right now like a lot of people thought they were going to be. Virginia Tech continues to surprise folks, too. They picked up their third ACC road win, Tom. They won 80-70 over Wake and Winston-Salem, but that's 3 road wins for Virginia Tech this year is kind of surprising. And, of course, the highlight of last night was the fact that Duke was upset by Clemson, and Clemson's on a real roll. They win the game 79-72 at the Little John. It marks the first time since 1996 that they've beat both Duke and North Carolina in the same season. So good times at Clemson right about now to offset their national championship defeat at the hands of LSU, I suppose. I don't think they'll revel in this, but that's what you got.
But they played from in front the whole way. That was the interesting thing about that game. I checked in on it every time the Lightning would go to break or Jeopardy from that 8 to 9 p.m. hour would go to break. And Clemson was just, I saw it from the end of the first half and on. They were just pacing the game, and then they hit a couple of shots late. There was a review that took about 10 minutes about possession inside of a minute to go. I forget whose way it went. It might have even gone Duke's way. But every time Clemson needed to make a big shot to close it, they did. For them, I believe that's the first time they've beaten Carolina and Duke consecutively.
Oh, consecutively? Yeah.
In a season?
Well, perhaps.
I mean, given their dubious history in ACC play, and they can't win at North Carolina on the road until this year.
I don't know how many
teams.
Stand. I just don't know how. I mean, in the annals of in the modern era, I don't know how many people have beaten Duke and North Carolina back-to-back games, period.
We did in the tournament.
Right.
But I don't know in a regular season. Yeah.
It's a lofty, it's a lofty goal there. I would say this, too. We mentioned what's at stake here. If you can win tonight, you move to 5-1 in the conference. That 5-1 record would equal that of Duke's now that they've lost. You would have the same record in the ACC as Louisville, but of course you hold the head-to-head advantage against Louisville with that road win against them. And you do play Louisville later in the year, but it's here. And so, you'd have a chance to make sure you ensure that you remain ahead of them.
You've got some heavyweight tilts, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because Louisville, that's late in February.
Oh,
so that'll probably be a different version of this group, and I don't know if that's good or bad, because we'll certainly be a different version of ourselves. And then in the beginning of February, you have a matchup with Duke. I mean, there are some major things on the calendar, but you do play Virginia twice in the next 4 games. So.
Yeah, you got Virginia on the road later, so you need to win tonight.
Yeah,
hold serve
definitely.
here, if you will. But, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up in a position to remain in the top 4 and finish in the top 4 of the ACC standings yet again. Now, ultimately, we know the goal for this team isn't to finish in the top 4. They do that all the time. Their goal now is to win the damn conference regular season title. One that I frankly value more than a postseason tournament. I don't care as much about the ACC tournament. It's a made-for-money nonsense event that, frankly, if you win, it's great because they kind of look at you as the conference champion as such, but I tend to certainly put more weight on a 20-game schedule in the conference if you can win it.
More importantly, so does the committee. So if you're looking for seed lines, going to Tampa, all that stuff, right, which top 4 seed, we're pretty much going to Tampa. Yeah, you need to make sure you win your regular season conference games. A good weekend doesn't really do all that much for you.
God, we're 5th in the RPI. Duke, who's number 3 in the country from a ranking standpoint, is number 4 in the RPI. We're right there, man.
The thing is, the conference is down for them, too. It's down for Duke. I know they just slipped up last night, but probably wakes them up to win 5 in a row.
Well, they're going to be right there at the very end. I'm just hoping we can maintain, right? Stay right there. When you get your opportunity, make the most of it. I mean, you're going to have to hope somewhere along. It was big last night. Way to go, Clemson. It's not so much that we got to go on to beat Duke, which would be nice. Obviously, that's your best opportunity. But you're going to need them to stumble along the way, and then you're going to have to remain consistent. In winning games like this one tonight, in which you're favored at home against a team that's struggling, offensively challenged, then, goes a long way in putting yourself in a position to take advantage of any stumble.
This is just a critical game for us to continue to show that offensively our game is rounding into a consistent place that we didn't think was possible, before Thanksgiving or certainly before New Year's. If we make shots against this team tonight, then it's time to start getting nervous about the chances of winning a regular season title. But there are 20 of these games this year. That's so many, and we've gone through droughts. I'm not saying it's coming tonight. I'm just saying if they do score at a decent efficiency tonight, per possession from the field, however you want to look at it, then they can score on anybody. And that's when it gets really fun because the effort on the defensive side is going to be there.
Yeah, my favorite part is that we're entering into a realm now where if you're beginning to win these kinds of games, this would be a streak of 8 straight, 15 of 16. You're at this point solidifying the fact that you are absolutely not flukishly where you're at, but then that changes the way you view the rest of the year. It changes what you believe to be possible. And That causes a giddiness, but it also causes kind of a steady nervousness, an underlying nervousness, because you begin to have real hope that this is a year where you're going to go to the Final Four.
But what's really weird about it and funny about it is this, we're so used to every game mattering because, we want to get into the tournament. That's like the large existence of the Leonard Hamilton era. Of course, the last few years, we're going to the tournament. It's just how good, will our seeding be? How will the draw bear out? But you could have every game counts from a different perspective this year, which is first place in the ACC standings. Every game that Duke plays is big. Every game that Louisville plays is big, in addition to ours, because all these wins and losses matter greatly in hoisting that trophy. And the fact that we only played Duke the one time this year, that game was massive, because what does it do? It creates an insulation point and factor for you in the conference standings.
We'll move on to football and football-related items, both Florida State and the NFL. Interesting games this weekend forthcoming. We haven't touched on that today yet. Also, a little nugget or two on the ongoing baseball controversy, in which Major League Baseball is not screwing around. This is unlike the NFL. We catch you, got you dead to rights. People are losing jobs. Careers are being changed. Folks are suspended for years on end. Your manager's about to get fired before he ever manages a game. I mean, this is the repercussions of this scandal, buddy.
The Wilpons just need to add a couple more chapters to That's So Mets book, and then I hope when this new guy takes over, we're just I'll take being an evil empire for a few years after this clown show.
Goodness gracious. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
This hour of the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Jerry's Cigar Shop, 2810 Shara Road and 2910 Cary Forest Parkway. Online at jerrycigarshop.com.
This message brought to you by the Florida Lottery Player's Guide. We would like to remind you to always play responsibly, which means know your limits. When playing, make sure to set a budget and then stick to it. Use only your discretionary income on games and don't spend more than you can afford. Learn more helpful tips and information about responsible gaming at playersguide.flalottery.com. Must be 18 or older to play. And, of course, play responsibly.
What happens on the bike is what you commit to.
What's up, Peloton family? Welcome to this 20-minute pop ride.
To the hills.
Don't stop here, Peloton. Remember why you started.
The sprints.
We've got this together. We are always a team.
And the milestones.
Great job, Peloton. Way to show up today.
But what happens off the bike?
My dad just ran his fastest 10K yet. I've never seen him so sure of himself.
Is why it matters. Try it for yourself with 30-day home trial. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Jen London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. It's a free service, and we've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad. There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-391-1755. That's 1-800-391-1755.
Milwaukee and Cornerstone Tool and Fastener are nothing but heavy duty. Purchase a Milwaukee M18 Fuel Brushless Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get your choice of a free M18 Fuel Sawzall or M18 Fuel High Output 8.0 battery, a $199 value. Or buy an M18 Fuel 4-piece brushless packout kit with a rolling toolbox for only $4.99. A Cornerstone special. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. Big store pricing with local service. 1110 Stuckey Ave or 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Get mom a great gift from Kohl's and get a little something for yourself. $10 Kohl's Cash for every $50 spent. Give her a Philosophy Amazing Grace bath gift set, just $55, and get $10 Kohl's Cash. Or a Diamond Heart pendant, only $109.99, and you'll get $20 Kohl's Cash. Plus, take $10 off your $50 or more Mother's Day gift purchase, Thursday through Sunday at Kohl's. Select styles, $10 offer valid May 1st through 12th with promo code MOMSDAY10. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
With NFL Game Pass, you can see all the action all season long, all in one place.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Replay every game,
Let's go!
Every gutsy call.
Tonight is the night!
Every crazy catch.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
Every wild comeback.
My goodness, this dude's a beast!
It's all the football you can handle for just $49.99. Go to NFL.com/Game Pass to start your free trial today. Certain restrictions apply.
Let's get it, fellas. Come on.
Well, would you look at this goodness? Our friends at For the Table Hospitality are doing the right thing per usual. It's time for the 4th annual Tallahassee Wine Mixer and Mozfest. Tallahassee's best wine festival is back for another year right there in the shadow of beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. The date is Saturday, March the 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centrale Pizza, Parm, and Bar. VIP tickets are just $60 and feature unlimited wine sampling, unlimited charcuterie, ooh, fancy, unlimited mozzarella cheese, oh, forget about it, this is good stuff, unlimited games and a commemorative glass to boot. 2020 is going to be the best Tallahassee wine mixer yet. We'd certainly like to thank our friends at Visit Tallahassee for all of their help. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Tallahassee Wine Mixer.
What happens on the bike is what you commit to.
What's up, Peloton family? Welcome to this 20-minute pop ride.
To the hills.
Don't stop here, Peloton. Remember why you started.
The sprints.
We've got this together. We are always a team.
And the milestones.
Great job, Peloton. Way to show up today.
But what happens off the bike?
My dad just ran his fastest 10K yet. I've never seen him so sure of himself.
Is why it matters. Try it for yourself with 30-day home trial. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Red Sox really didn't have a choice. Of course, Cora was manager of the Red Sox as they won the World Series and franchise record 108 wins in his first season with the club in 2018. They agreed to part ways. That had to have been a short meeting. Of course, on Monday, the Astros fired manager A.J. Hinch and Jeff Linnell almost immediately after Major League Baseball announced Hinch and Linnell would be suspended for the entirety of this upcoming year for their role in the 2017 Astros sign-stealing scandal. Cora, of course, was the Astros bench coach for that team in 2017. In announcing the discipline against the Astros, Cora was described as being heavily involved in developing both the banging scheme. Well, now, that's Major League Baseball's verbiage, not mine. Imagine walking through that door. Guys, I got a scheme to bang.
Hey.
Whoa, hey.
That's my territory. You're not allowed. That's the Billy Minotti scheme.
It's the banging scheme. There's so many jokes. So Major League Baseball described it as such, and utilizing the replay review room to decode and transmit signals. Cora participated in both the banging scheme and the replay review decode. A lot of deception going on in this particular scheme, all involving Mr. Cora, who, as I noted, participated in both schemes and through his active participation implicitly condoned the players' conduct, quote unquote. And the Boston Globe put together a thorough timeline for Cora's career and involvement. You can find that. I don't need to go back and document that for you, but it's thorough. Go read the Boston Globe story.
Guess he didn't treat the Boston Globe very well.
They couldn't wait, huh?
Oh, we have a timeline.
Yeah, for all of the banging scheme.
Ironclad timeline at that.
Due to more oversight of the replay room from Major League Baseball officials during the playoffs, it would have made it hard for the Red Sox to employ their scheme in the postseason that year. Boston actually scored more runs per game and has a better win percentage in the postseason than he did regular season. So Cora could say, hey, But
if this was 1965, I'd say, okay, well, if his name was Terry O'Shaughnessy, would the globe be like, ready to go?
Yeah.
But it's modern times.
So overall, Cora's 192 wins were the fourth most in a manager's first 2 seasons in Major League history, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. If you could say the word, Jeff, he's now out of the game.
Hello, my name is Elias Sports Bureau.
Man. So you have a lot of stuff. I mean, you go back now to 2015. Remember, this is when the FBI and the Justice Department had to get involved in Major League Baseball. People are going to great lengths to cheat the sport of baseball. My God. A lot of money, man. Whether it's the steroid era or this one in 2015 where the Cardinals hacked the Stros. They were investigated for hacking an internal database owned by the Astros. 1 year later, Chris Correa, former Cardinals scouting director, was sentenced to 46 months in prison. They are not screwing around. 46 months on 12 counts of corporate espionage and was placed on MLB's ineligibility list permanently. The Cardinals were forced to pay the Astros at that time $2 million and give them their 2 highest draft picks. That hurt. The Astros probably secretly called the Cardinals and went, "We see you. We know. You ain't cheating. You ain't trying. But you got caught. We're going to move on."
If you could have proved it against us, you would have.
You'd have been all right.
So I am calling Manfred. This call is happening.
That's what's going to happen.
I know that you know.
Yeah, you know. That's why you broke into our database, because you know.
That's right.
But, hey.
This is the Astro way, not the Cardinal way. Did you see the thing last night? Oberman did a
it was great.
2-minute bit.
61. Bobby Thompson shot heard around the world.
There's a
Giants
telescope.
win the pennant. That's all the way back. But you can go back to 1900. Telescope is bad. That's bad.
That was the 51 Giant season.
Yeah.
Dude had a telescope in right center.
Yeah.
Not binoculars, a telescope.
It was very thoroughly worked out.
They had a buzzer system. Buzzer to the bullpen, and then the bullpen would relay it from center field or left center field down to the batter.
The irony, too, is I guess it's not irony. It's just surprising. He alleged that there is documentation as far back as the early 1900s of a buzzer system.
Yeah, 1900. Yes, in a dugout underneath the dugout.
If that's true, those bastards deserve an award. I mean, buzzers didn't even exist. Like, we're going to make a buzzer.
You know, Graham Bell has been working on something. I think we can use it to our advantage. I do.
I mean, that's insane. Like, these guys really cared about winning.
We've got to take down the Black Stockings.
This has got to be. I mean, somebody came in there like, you know what? This game's too hard. We need a way to make it easier. Somebody invent something. I'll make you a buzzer.
I need the extra dime. Do you?
It's crazy. But nonetheless, that's what you got there. That is, I'm still laughing about somebody cheating in 1900.
But what I don't get is in 51, they had the photo. You can kind of see the guy. Like, doesn't anybody ask, what's the dude with the telescope?
What's that dude doing over there with the telescope? Yeah.
Well, that's for a new motion picture. You know, like, it's a new cutting-edge camera. That's what it is. That's the ticket.
Yeah, I do wonder. I do wonder what... The
telescope is following the catcher. Like, the catcher stands up, the telescope tilts up. I mean, nobody? Anybody?
You know, I'm thinking back to when Miami was cheating and Martin caught him. They caught him. They heard him on the walkie-talkie. They could hear on the signal, fastball. They switched it up, and then the guy throws, Doesn't
Alex Cora have some history, right, with that part of the baseball world? Isn't that where he went?
Yeah. I wonder, does this all start back then?
It all comes back to the Canes.
Most things do. Cheating bastards. Yeah, he went to the University of Miami, 93 through 96.
He learned the ways. If not the ways, he learned the will.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, I blame most things on Miami, the recession, anything. Yeah, anything I can... Oh, those bastards at Miami are costing us.
That's right. That's the athletic side. The academic side will help you fix it, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well...
Those whippersnappers.
Yeah, good dental school. Probably a couple other good things.
We're climbing up the ranks, though.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not worried about that. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
fight no more. And the others.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 11th annual 2020 Trent 10K, formerly the Trent Trot, in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts fourth grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which supports local families battling pediatric cancer. The foundation has supported 45-plus families to this date. The race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 25th, 2020. The 1-mile fun run starts at 8 a.m. and the 10K and 5K begin at 8:30 a.m. The 10K and 1-mile race are both Gulf Winds Grand Prix events. You can register online at eventbrite.com. Search Trent 10K.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
You can't protect against everything life has in store, but you can sure try. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we help you protect your investment with regular maintenance options that can keep your system safe. Receive same-day service when you sign up for the Total Comfort Service Program at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
As sports fans, we all know this is the best time of the year. And the best places to catch all the action are at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and 7th Hill Tap Room. If you'd like a laid-back atmosphere, the 7th Hill Tap Room is your spot. 24 craft brew taps, plus wine options as well. And when you want to watch the pros, enjoy half off all craft drafts all day on Sundays. So, whether you're feeling the upstairs at the Corner Pocket or lounging down at the 7th Hill Tap Room, your game day is always covered. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, right next to Earth Fair.
It's time for the Oliva Cigars tasting event at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Thursday, January 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. Try all the classic blends from Oliva with incredible discounts, exclusive deals, and great food and drinks. This event will be at the Cary Forest Parkway location. Stop by and bring a friend because you don't want to miss the amazing deals, exciting raffles, free swag, and all the fun. Don't miss the Jerry's Cigar Shop Oliva tasting event Thursday, January 30th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Only at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Cary Forest Parkway, Tallahassee's favorite cigar destination.
Hardee's new 2 for $5 mix and match may just be the best deal in town. Where else can you get any 2 Hardee's favorites like the bacon cheddar double, the hot ham and cheese, the original roast beef, or the charbroiled double cheeseburger for $5? That's a ton of lunchtime options for only $5. Come to think of it, Hardee's 2 for $5 mix and match may even be the best deal in the state. Someone call the governor and double check that. Offer available for limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Not valid with any other offer, discount, or combo.
Get excited, Whataburger fans. Our one-of-a-kind mushroom Swiss burger is back.
And now it's an all-time favorite.
If you love mushrooms, you're going to love this burger.
2 patties, 2 slices of Swiss cheese, 2 layers of mushrooms. These mushrooms are beautiful.
It's a really good balance between hearty and savory. That au jus sauce on top.
The creamy au jus sauce. It really sets it apart.
Just adds flavor that makes you go, wow. It is just absolutely amazing.
It's not just a mushroom Swiss burger, it's a Whataburger mushroom Swiss burger.
What happens on the bike is what you commit to.
What's up, Peloton family? Welcome to this 20-minute pop ride.
To the hills.
Don't stop here, Peloton. Remember why you started.
The sprints.
We've got this together. We are always a team.
And the milestones.
Great job, Peloton. Way to show up today.
But what happens off the bike?
My dad just ran his fastest 10K yet. I've never seen him so sure of himself.
Is why it matters. Try it for yourself with 30-day home trial. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Jen London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. It's a free service, and we've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad. There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-391-1755. That's 1-800-391-1755.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Are you starting a new business or expanding your business? Looking for the right general contractor to assist you with the tenant space build-out? Look no further. From restaurant to retail, we have the experience to work with you. At T-Spark Enterprises, we are ready to be a part of your vision and build a space that exceeds your expectations. Whether you're looking for design build or build from your own design, give us a call today for a free consultation. As the owner of T-Spark Enterprises, I guarantee when it comes to your business space, we only provide picture-perfect results.
Call 866-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, tsparkconstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
To the one and only
Bobby Womack. It's Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Happy Balls McWednesday. To the NFL we go. Mentioned earlier Mr. Kuechly's retirement. He is one of the all-timers, and I think probably making a good decision at 28 years old to walk away. He played the game the way we all love to see it played, but, man, that's a lot of hits. I thought he was older.
You thought, what, he's like 32, 33?
I thought he was at least 30. He's 28. Just, I marvel, how productive, how year in and year out, that badass was the bane of our existence. Every time I would watch that guy play, I go, God, isn't he close to retirement? I wouldn't have said that if I thought he was, at the time, 26, 27.
Well, on top of the fact that he was really, really good as an athlete, it was always pre-snap diagnosis that was his reputation. He'd call out all the checks. He knew everything. He knew the play that was coming. It's just a matter of, can you run it better than we can in terms of defending it?
So here we go. Derrick Henry has been nearly unstoppable in recent weeks, and obviously in the postseason, he has ratcheted that up. Most rush yards in his first 4 career postseason games so far on the docket of his career. Most rush yards in any 2-game span in postseason history at 377. Most consecutive games, regular or postseason, with 180 yards rushing at least, bare minimum. He's done that 3 games in a row now. He's had 137 yards after contact. He did that against the Ravens last week in the divisional playoffs. He had 96 yards rushing after contact against the Patriots in the wild card round. Those are the highest and third highest totals, respectively, for any player over the last 10 postseasons. Got to go all the way back to Marshawn Lynch's Beastquake game, which stands in between those two numbers with 102. So we have watched a formidable run towards history for Derrick Henry. He has 233 rushing yards after contact this postseason. His starting quarterback has 160 pass yards this postseason. No other player in this postseason has gained that many total yards from scrimmage. So here we are now with the Chiefs having to find a way to shut that down. And here's your problem, and here's where it could be interesting. They've allowed the 4th most yards per rush after contact this season. They haven't exactly come in and wrapped up. Now, they've done a much better job lately on the defensive side until the other day, but a lot of that was turnovers and freaky stuff and giving up the ball inside your own 10. But in their career against Derrick Henry, they have had a hard go of it. They've have the Titans running Derrick Henry against the Chiefs, 7.3 yards per carry on 55 rushes for Derrick Henry. The remarkable part of what the Titans have done up to this point is enforce their will. Tannehill's not winning nothing. He's throwing the ball 7 and 8 times respectively. It's ridiculous. Well, he's throwing it more than that. He's completing that many passes. So they're lining up and telling you, we're going to run the ball. You know we're going to run the ball. We're telling you we're going to run the ball by formation. And we're going to run the ball. Here it comes. Stop it. Those 3 games for the Titans that I just referenced in regards to the matchup against the Chiefs, the Titans are 3-0. Henry has scored 5 times, averaged 134 yards rushing per game in those 3 games against the Chiefs. That includes 188 yards in Week 10 this year, 156 yards rushing in 2017 in the wild card round. So they've done it.
Yeah, I'm looking up the box score of that game that happened on November the 10th of this year, and
He ran wild.
He ran wild, 23 for $188, as you just said, 2 touchdowns. But if you look at what Mahomes and the Kansas City offense did, Mahomes was 36 of 50 for 446 and 3 scores, and Damian Williams added another 77 on the ground. They're basically at 100 yards rushing on top of the 446 that Mahomes throws for, and they still lose the game. This is where it gets interesting. If you're Kansas City on defense, you're saying, can you get me a stop or two? Because then we could pace this at a 2-score advantage.
Yeah.
But if you are obviously Tennessee and you're looking at it on the other side, you're saying, can we get up 10-7 at the end of the first quarter and we have the ball for 11 minutes of the first quarter? Because then that portends of a second-half wear-down effect that Kansas City can't do anything to stop you. It's a complete clash of styles, pace of play, and red zone efficiency is going to be huge in this game for both teams.
Yeah, and if you're the Titans, not only is that the game that you want to play for obvious reasons, you're featuring your best player, a battering ram who's led you to victory in a second-half season for the ages, but the other reason is it keeps Patrick Mahomes off the damn field. And that's a big thing given the defensive numbers that you just put up. But something else to note here, and I wonder, we'd have to go back. I was checking on his numbers coming in today just for purposes of this conversation. There's only 4 teams that held Henry to under 4 yards per rush this year. And they happen in succession, 4 straight weeks. He had to have been hurt.
Who was his quarterback?
Well, true, but I don't think it was for all of those, was it?
I don't know the answer to it.
I need to go back
I'm suspecting
and look.
Something.
Well, here's what happened. It was a 4-week run where they averaged under 4 yards per rush. It was against the Bills, the Falcons, the Jags.
The Falcons?
I know. The Bills, Falcons, Jags, and Broncos. And those 4 games, he averaged 1.3 yards per rush before contact. So he was getting lit up. They were getting into the backfield pretty quickly. And those teams, by the way, this is the advanced numbers here of the next-gen stats that the NFL provides. Those teams didn't load the box to do that, Tom. Those teams were using basically not a loaded box. They weren't bringing 7 men, 8 men up there to the box. This was just a standard D, so it's pretty interesting.
Okay, so you said it was Falcons, Bills.
No, it was Bills, Falcons, Jags, Broncos.
Okay, I'm showing that this year's game log, that those are all starts by Mariota. And they went the next week against the Chargers to Ryan Tannehill. And so it may have been, like, they might not have needed to stack the box because,
they knew he wasn't going to throw the, well, I mean, yeah.
They're able to tee off at the snap. I don't know. Tendencies of play calling with Marcus Mariota that's not necessary.
Well, they didn't have to work.
They called the game away from just, going
Derrick Henry or bust.
Well,
they didn't have to respect the whole field because they knew he wasn't going to throw it downfield.
Well, it may have been that when they started Tannehill, they said, you know what, let's go Derrick Henry or bust and let's let this guy roll out and throw off the I don't know. It could have been just a run-pass split.
I'm also going to guess that perhaps they had to defend the whole field because Tannehill does throw the deep ball very, very well. I mean, when he has to do it, he throws it exceptionally well. So now you got to guard the whole field. Got to play him,
In the Jags game, stop the presses, Mariota threw the ball 40 times, and they scored 7 points.
Sounds like a Derek Carr line.
He was sacked 9 times in that game.
Holds the ball too long, doesn't stretch.
My
his field.
God.
On the other side of it, it's Patrick Mahomes and what you're talking about. And I since returning from his injury in Week 10, his performance has been elite, of course, and I like watching him play, I think, more than any player in the league.
When he's rolling, yeah.
Man, it's something to behold.
But, I mean, isn't Derrick Henry now climbing up the ranks in that regard? Because you're just like, oh, my God, who's he going to truck next? And you just laugh at people trying to tackle
I'm always a fan of a brutal style of football and the old school days of watching John Riggins and of course, I think of everybody, Nigerian Nightmare, like Christian Okoye. I love watching the big backs. Allstott and Tampa did that to people. There's obviously, you go all the way back to Larry Zonk with the Dolphins. You can go on for days and name your big backs because they're always fun. They're always hilarious to watch. Ironhead Hayward and all those guys were the best.
Do you think that the AFC game proves more interesting than the NFC game? And not by, offensive styles or intrigue and game plans. Like, just it's the middle of the third quarter, and I'm riveted or I'm bored.
I keep saying it, and I keep thinking that I'm going to be. Well, I don't keep saying it. I've had a hunch that the Titans were going to be dismissed. I picked them against New England, So I had that right. I thought New England was kind of on their last leg. They looked like they were ready to be beaten. I did not pick them to go into Baltimore and do what they did. I certainly didn't see that coming. And so now they've got me thinking, well, maybe they can dictate terms. Maybe they can just run the ball and shorten the game and keep these offenses off the field. We'll see. I think Kansas City is going to brutalize the Titans in this game because I think they're going to get up early, and then I think it's going to take Tennessee out of what they want to do.
Yeah,
but
what's crazy about Kansas City is when the light bulb clicks on, because the New England game the year prior, did they have any points at halftime? Or if they did, it was minuscule. But they dropped 30 in the second half against New England, did they not?
They did.
Right. And then they got an offer in the first quarter against Houston. It's 28 out of nowhere. When they get hot, they put up numbers at Big 12 levels.
It was the LSU offense. LSU offense scoring like they did in the second quarter against the Clemson Tigers. I mean, they went from, they're getting shut down, Venables is winning the day, to holy moly. And the same thing you talk about with Kansas City. They stopped turning the ball over and they just took off.
I think the dangerous thing here, if you're Tennessee, and there's nothing you can do about it, but maybe Kansas City was afraid of success. Jimbo used to talk about that. He's big in the psychology of winning, and sometimes
I don't think he ever understood it, but yeah.
Well, but I mean that's still a salient point, that sometimes you're afraid of the successful result as much as you're afraid of failure. I mean, how else can you explain the first quarter and all the drop passes and the starry gaze in so many players' eyes?
Well, the bye week sometimes hurts teams. I do think that. I do think sometimes you come out in the bye week and there's that rust. You see a little bit of it. You're lacking the game speed. These teams that don't have the bye, they've stayed in playoff mode through the end of the year, right on through, right? And the Texans had to do that late in the season. So did the Titans, right? So they come out locked in that playoff mindset. They just played the week before. Even San Francisco, Minnesota throws deep, wide open, busted coverage.
Yeah.
You see some of that sometimes, and there's an adjustment phase. So I think there might have been part of that. That was really kind of weird weather, obviously, in Kansas City. Very cold, so you come out, you're a little sluggish all of a sudden. Some factors, weather factors, whatever it might be. Then you start to feel the pressure. There's no doubt about that. Because now you're suddenly down 2 scores, and everybody's trying to make a play.
You got 3 or 4 drops, a muffed punt, and a muffed punt and a blocked punt.
Yeah, they had a punt block last year in the playoffs early in the game. Same thing.
And then you combine that with the fact, I'm sure they heard about this. It's not that big of a deal to us, and then it just shows up in the graphic, and you go, how is that possible? That they're 1-8 in their last 9 playoff games, entering, a kickoff against the Texans. So there's a mystique. Even though Arrowhead's one of the great places to play, that makes no damn sense. And it proves your point about professionals. It doesn't matter where the game is played.
It doesn't feel that way, does it? There's very few examples where that's true.
But that's still
meaning that the home field really holds true.
I mean, Mahomes wasn't there for all those, but I'm sure it resonates with him and it resonates with the rest of the roster that, okay, are we actually going to be the team that breaks through and doesn't disappoint these fans? If you're playing not to disappoint somebody, it's different than playing to go attack and win the game. They got down by just enough points to go and attack and stop thinking about it.
Yeah, and, there's an Andy Reid factor that comes up all the time. I mean, the bottom line is when that statistic popped up, I think the first thing people thought was, well, here we go, Andy. I mean, how many times have you had the best team and just found ways not to accomplish what that talent level or regular season suggested you should? I kind of was happy for him, first of all. That would have been a humdinger. To lose that to that Texans team, come on now. That's not an elite Texans team.
I would have been okay with it.
Well, you would have been, but that would have been a toughie. I mean, come on. And nobody wanted to see the Titans-Texans. Just don't even.
That is true.
Nobody wants to see that nonsense.
That's 100% true.
I mean, I was thinking about it while it was happening. I'm like, are you serious? We're going to get Titans-Texans?
So I was talking to my buddy down in Tampa. I was like, man, so you tell me the way the Bucs-Titans game and the Bucs-Texans game plays out, where these are 2 wins if we're not a-holes or the referees are not a-holes, right? And the Bucs win these 2 games.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 teams. One of them's going to the Super Bowl. Are we that close? And then Kansas City responds, okay, well, we're close to being like divisional round good, but, Kansas City's on a different level. So at least we're not that close to make you pissed off that we're not in the playoff field this year.
Yeah, but I do think it's going to be incredibly interesting. I mean, if we're going to bring it back home to the team that we obviously air and cover in Tallahassee, which is the Bucs. I was looking this up. Let me see. I jotted a note here. So you think about – actually, let's just get back to the point we were making. So Brady goes to Carolina, which is disappointing. But in the same day, you find out that Luke Kuechly's retired. And again, I have nothing but respect for Luke Kuechly, but that's a devastating blow.
Is that
to
a
them.
net positive or negative? It's got to be a short-term net negative because you don't know who the hell your quarterback is next year. If you're
Well, and
Carolina.
also it's the pros. The pros will adjust to Brady's scheme. I mean, I understand that college coaches seem to struggle with that, but I mean,
but he's working with Josh Allen or maybe Cam Newton. I don't know.
Josh Allen sucked at the end.
These are his options. It's
But
like, good luck, Joe.
So, but if you think about it again, so they lose an all-time great player, a Hall of Famer on defense. That is a net loss. Period. Secondly, I think Breeze. I've talked about it all year long. Again, another Hall of Famer. Respect. He's in decline. I know. The statistics are the statistics. We watch the games. He's in decline.
Yep.
And they just blew it at home. And we can do. The Falcons, obviously,
they sell Drew Brees' arm at Pinch a Penny for 99 cents.
The Falcons are what the Falcons are, which is pretty damn average. And
they're frustratingly, if you're one of their fans, right? Frustratingly average because you see all the talent all over the place, but they just, for whatever reason.
The point would be that division is infinitely interesting next year. And if you're a Tampa fan, you go into next year, because this schedule was brutal.
In an
Tampa
odd
Bay.
way, it's Bucks-Falcons, right? You would think? The way they finished the season?
Regular season, I still think the Saints will be formidable. Are they actually going to move on from Drew?
So, well, listen, Schefter was all too happy to report that Drew Brees had TV options, and he's weighing those.
Well, those are two different conversations. Because if I'm Drew Brees, I think I know. I mean, he knows. If he's being honest with himself, he knows there are throws he just can't make anymore. And he's won a Super Bowl. He's won MVPs. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the 5 most prolific passers in the history of the game. There's nothing else for him to prove. Maybe call it a day. Call it a day.
Go ahead, make Taysom Hill your quarterback. Sure.
Yeah, no, but
go ahead. See what happens.
Yeah. So they're already contemplating it. Whether he returns,
I hope they do. I really do.
He throws a better deep ball.
If they had, well, I mean, that still was underthrown by 5 yards.
I'm just saying.
If it was Bridgewater and Taysom Hill, and that's your plan of attack, I'd be, well, okay. Now they've got a little bit of everything going on. But if it's just Taysom, okay, Sean, go for it.
It's wide open.
You're smarter than anybody in the room.
It's wide open, man. And it's wide open because Carolina's not good. It's wide open because I think the Saints missed the window there. They'll blame the NFL. I understand they've got a bit of a beef there. They weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyhow. But then there's the
Rams played it close, and the Rams were outgunned in that game. That was the throw to the back of the end zone that one of the twins, the McCourty twins, tracks down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who knows?
Yeah. Did they score? Did the Rams score?
That would have changed. I forget what the circumstance was.
Did they score at any point? What was the final score last year?
Shut out, did they?
Was it 13-3? What was the final score? 17-3? What was it? Pull up that Super Bowl score. I can't remember the score.
13-3. So there you go. 3 points.
13. I got it right. How about that?
They gave up 13. I mean, Jesus.
No. My point was
it was the beginning of the end for that offense in New England.
It was, but it's again pointing to their defense. It's elite. They gave up 3 points in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and that Rams offense, unlike this year's team, didn't suck to high heaven. They scored 3 points.
3 points.
3 bleeping points.
Siri was listening again.
By the way, you know what they joined? I believe, if that's not correct, no, it is correct. That's now just the second team in NFL history to play in a Super Bowl and not score a touchdown in the game.
The 85 Patriots?
No, they scored.
They did?
The Dolphins scored 3 points against the Cowboys. They lost 24-3 back in 71 or something like that.
Sounds like something you'd remember, given that
my dad's a Dolphins fan.
Yeah, and you were a Cowboys fan.
And I like to tease him about it anyhow, because until last year, that was the lone team that had made a Super Bowl and not scored.
Did you make sure to bring that up to your dad and say, you've got company?
I probably texted him after the game and said, Dad, how about that?
He's got the ultimate retort, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was still the only undefeated season. I guess. Patriots won more games in a row than you. Let's switch to Florida State basketball, shall we? We're going to do it next. Tallahassee Game Day Court Report / third hour of the Jeff Cameron Show. Florida State, Virginia tonight. We'll talk about it, break it down. What's at stake? Big picture stuff. Jeff Cameron Show continues in a moment. Well, would you look at this goodness? Our friends at For the Table Hospitality are doing the right thing per usual. It's time for the 4th annual Tallahassee Wine Mixer and Mozfest. Tallahassee's best wine festival is back for another year right there in the shadow of beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. The date is Saturday, March the 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centrale Pizza, Parm, and Bar. VIP tickets are just $60 and feature unlimited wine sampling, unlimited charcuterie, ooh, fancy, unlimited mozzarella cheese, oh, forget about it, this is good stuff, unlimited games, and a commemorative glass to boot. 2020 is going to be the best Tallahassee wine mixer yet. We'd certainly like to thank our friends at Visit Tallahassee for all of their help. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Tallahassee Wine Mixer.
Employee Pricing Plus, only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. We haven't offered employee pricing for over 10 years, and it's back. Get some incredible deals, like a new 2019 Ram 1500 up to $14,000 off MSRP, plus 0% for 60 months on the 2019 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. A huge savings only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Here's another. A new 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $4,000 off MSRP. A new 2019 Dodge Challenger SXT up to $6,000 off MSRP. Buy one for only $26,999. During our Dodge Power Dollar sales event, Employee Pricing Plus, everyone qualifies. Going on right now, only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Visit us on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. Pricing on in-stock vehicles only, plus tax tag and dealer fee with approved credit. See dealer for details.
This message brought to you by the Florida Lottery Players Guide. We would like to remind you to always play responsibly, which means know your limits. When playing, make sure to set a budget and then stick to it. Use only your discretionary income on games and don't spend more than you can afford. Learn more helpful tips and information about responsible gaming at playersguide.flalottery.com. Must be 18 or older to play. And of course, play responsibly.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-tracked, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
Hardee's new 2 for $5 mix and match may just be the best deal in town. Where else can you get any two Hardee's favorites like the bacon cheddar double, the hot ham and cheese, the original roast beef, or the charbroiled double cheeseburger for $5? That's a ton of lunchtime options for only $5. Come to think of it, Hardee's 2 for $5 mix and match may even be the best deal in the state. Someone call the governor and double check that.
Offer available for limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Not valid with any other offer, discount, or combo.
Ashley Home Store's anniversary mattress sale is in its final week. It's your last chance to get a king mattress for the price of a queen mattress on select Ashley Sleep, Sealy, and Beauty Rest mattresses. Or get no interest for 6 years on select Tempur-Pedic and Serta iComfort mattresses starting at just $12 a month. Hurry, the anniversary mattress sale ends Monday only at the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in North America. Ashley Home Store. This is home. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
What happens on the bike is what you commit to.
What's up, Peloton family? Welcome to this 20-minute pop ride.
To the hills.
Don't stop here, Peloton. Remember why you started.
The sprints.
We've got this together. We are always a team.
And the milestones.
Great job, Peloton. Way to show up today.
But what happens off the bike
My dad just ran his fastest 10K yet. I've never seen him so sure of himself.
is why it matters. Try it for yourself with 30-day home trial. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com. This is Tallahassee Game Day Court Report.
Going the distance. Got it! The Iron Kind! Florida State leads. 1.8 remaining.
ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang bring you the latest from the FSU basketball program as the Noles look to go mad again this March.
Forrest finds Gray, stepping three. Raekwon, the chef, Gray.
Tallahassee Game Day Court Report is brought to you by Lisa's Paint and Body. Choose someone who is working with and looking out for you. Lisa's Paint and Body, 2820 Mahan Drive, just 0.2 of a mile west of Capitol Circle Northeast. And by Bud Light, 4 simple ingredients, 1 great taste. Enjoy responsibly. Now, from Florida's capital city, here's ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Final hour / Tallahassee Court Report. Jeff Cameron Show, whatever you want to call it. We're all together on this one as Florida State gets set tonight to take on Virginia. The Cavs reeling a little bit, if you want to describe it as such. That is a consecutive losses stretch for the Cavaliers that see them come to a place that you don't just roll on into and expect to walk away with a victory. No, sir. Not here at the TLC Double C, and Florida State is a top 10 program, number 9 in the country, as they get set to do battle with Virginia. And if you think about this, Florida State has won 7 straight, 14 of their last 15 games since a 63-51 win over Florida on November the 10th in Gainesville. So kind of casually that day we think about that team and that game. It was seen as a bounce-back game because you had the loss to Pitt and you just didn't know what you were yet on the season, and you thought, well, I don't know, this is going to be a work in progress. We may be a middling team in the ACC this year. This may be a group that really struggles but puts it together by season's end, gets in the tournament, and maybe is somebody nobody wants to play. Instead, a lot of things have changed. Virginia and North Carolina, and really North Carolina more than Virginia, but the ACC in general doesn't look nearly as strong as it has in recent years, certainly the last few. And you've seen some powers really struggle. Now, North Carolina has really put the S in struggle. I mean, they've been awful. But you look at Virginia now, they struggle to score, period. They still play elite defense, and they're always going to do that under Tony Bennett. And we all know about the pack line defense, and it's annoying, and I hate watching this style of play. Offensively, they're really challenged when you lose as much firepower as they did. And they could really go to a Kyle Guy and guys like that. Frankly, whenever they had to have a basket, they did that to us last year here. But those guys are gone, moved on to the NBA, graduated, whatever it might be, and you have a situation now where they really struggle to score it, but they stay in games because they defend. So tonight's matchup in a couple of hours could be ugly, not real sure, but if Florida State's going to hit a few outside shots, there's also a chance, speaking of outside, an outside chance, that you run Virginia off the court, and that would further add to what I was describing to start the hour, which is Florida State became this other thing that way back when we beat Florida and started this 15 out of 16 and 7 straight now streak, you would not have guessed that the Noles would be in the top 10 and would look like the most sure thing night in and night out that you've seen in the ACC, not named Duke. It's unbelievable.
That to me, if I was going to do today's top story, for example, that
you
to
mean
me,
brought to you by AAA Tree Service and Landscaping. Tree Service, tree removal, tree pruning, and landscaping. AAA Tree Service and Landscaping, serving Tallahassee and the surrounding areas for over 35 years. Head to AAA Tree Experts. Do that today. That's .com. I don't .net. I'm messing that up. Head to AAATreeExperts.net today and get a free quote.
I didn't know that was sponsored. I was just saying,
well, you just threw it out there and it hit me, and I was inspired.
Of all the things I could have said, it's a sponsored liner.
Amazing, yeah.
But it's true because we haven't done one of these particular programs in so long. Florida State is a top 10 basketball team in the country.
Yes.
And it's for a few reasons. One, we don't lose anymore these days, it would seem. And two, the pack has come back to Florida State. Like, we've climbed, but then anybody who's anybody that's been in the top 5 this season has lost at some point, and lost sometimes in convincing fashion. I mean, that's just been the nature of college basketball this year. There are some years where it's almost like the football rankings. You look at the top 2 teams in the country, and you're like, well, these 2, you know it in September. These are going to be our players for the national title. Everybody else is just playing to get to the playoff or a New Year's Six bowl. In college basketball, there are some years where the top 8 teams, you go, well, all right. Kentucky, Duke, Michigan, Michigan State, maybe Gonzaga out west, and then you got a couple of wild cards in there, and you say, these are the players. That's not the case this year at all. The Final Four, if you're looking at it right now, is wide open. There's a list of probably 12 to 15 contenders.
Yes, correct. That's where I was going, yeah.
That could make it to the Final Four. Florida State is squarely in that field right now of candidates to make it that far. It's because of the relentless defense we play, but we've seen more consistency, I should say, in the offensive approach. We've seen a greater consistency in making threes that we didn't think were possible way back in November. We've seen Trent Forrest and his game emerge as the rotation solidifies. We're playing a little bit smaller than perhaps we expected. Some of that is injury, but some of that is also the necessity of just trying to score points. There's just been so much that's changed from the last time we did a Tallahassee Game Day Court Report to now. The number one thing, though, is we have a single digit next to our name. We're number 9 in the country consensus.
Well, they've also just gone a long way. You know, this week has really been about that, interrupted by the fact that we played a national championship game in college football, and you have these NFL playoffs looming in yet another round. But in truth, talking with Ira, obviously, you and I were talking on Monday, and then, of course, on some of the headlines, we talked about it as well. What this has been about, really the last 7 to 10 days, is people waking up to the idea that Florida State is now a model of consistency and one of the more upper echelon programs in the conference, and saying it with conviction, but also being able to back it up and look at the numbers that tell you unequivocally that it's true. It's not an opinion, or, you know, I sort of feel like this is a team going in the right direction and they've modeled consistency and now we should put them in another pairing or look at them in another tier of basketball. No, it's not like you should. They have kicked down the door. They have done that. You don't go to the Elite Eight in the Sweet 16 or back-to-back-to-back tournaments and win as many games in a row as Florida State has and been a top 3 team in the last 5 years in the ACC from a record standpoint. That's not an opinion. That's definitively true. You can't do that without being that kind of consistent, both in recruiting and coaching and executing. So, to me, that's just what they are, and this is an opportunity. I do think tonight's game sets up oddly. You know, I've dogged Virginia for the better part of this season, even though I know what they are, which is elite on defense, a train wreck on offense, really one-dimensional in that way. But obviously they're also the defending national champions, so they get their just due, well, being an eyesore and all these other things. I would have liked them not to lose 2 straight before rolling in here, because we're going to get it, we're going to get a desperate version of a Virginia team that still has weapons, is still well coached, and still plays elite defense. That part is true too. I tend to ignore it when I dog them because I'm so focused on how bad their offense can be. But they give themselves chances to win tons of games and be amongst the upper echelon because they play great defense. And, you know, we're not always proficient on offense. So if this thing gets bogged down, you're really potentially going to play a game that's more suited to what Virginia wants. I'm really curious to see how Leonard comes out and plays it tonight, because there are so many working elements that are fun to talk about in this game. Virginia's defense against Florida State's offense, our depth against their lack of depth this season. You know, what we do at the TLC-CC, which is frankly don't lose, going against a desperate, you know, defending champion. All these factors play into it tonight, which why it sets up to be a great game.
Well, for me, if you just look on the offensive side for Florida State, the pack line defense has given us problems over the years because of a lack of consistency to hit the 3. If you have somebody who's huge on the interior, like Chris Kumaje or Kabengale or Bernard James before him, I mean, Tony Bennett's been there forever and a day, right? So we've seen this. I think this is the 16th or 17th matchup all time between Coach Hamilton and Coach Bennett at the respective positions at Virginia and Florida State. So we've seen this concept a lot. Trent Forrest has seen this concept a lot.
He's the key tonight, by the way.
If you've got a bigger guy down in the paint, it's like what we did in the ACC tournament, which is you get a lot of action around the basket. Remember, that was Kumaje's game. Like, David Nichols played really well, but Kumaje was a factor in that game because it was just put-back dunks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just little lobs to the basket. We don't necessarily have that guy this year. Malik Osborne, maybe they run some sets for him. Maybe for Dom, they run some sets for him. Balsa's still hurt. So I don't know. We're more
real setback with Balsa, by the way. That really is probably.
We're not as proven in that regard to break down the pack line defense. But if you look at the Louisville game, we played small. They play pack line. But we abused their guards.
We also made shots.
We made well, of course, we made in the first half. We did, but think about it in the second half. Every time they pushed, it was more likely that we hit a runner than hitting a three. That we got to a spot inside the arc, got to our spot ahead of the guards, shot over the guards, and made our baskets.
Yeah.
Can you do that against this team? Because this pack line defense, while it's the same concept, if you look at the efficiency metrics, they're off the charts way better than Louisville's. That's the first place you look in this game. Can you make your twos, and can you get to your spots as guards and bully Virginia's defenders the way that we bullied Louisville's defenders with the same concept?
Well, and you can bully and shoot over them because we have so many players that are so lengthy at seven players at 6'8" or above. You have a situation where you can take advantage of all that depth and all that height and get those mid-range shots off and shoot over those guys.
Well,
and then also Trent's so strong, he'll get you on his hip and take you to the basket.
They've got more length than Louisville does Virginia, but not at point guard because Kihai Clark is 5'9". And that's rare for a Tony Bennett system to have somebody so small. But the question is, how many times can you get him one-on-one in the matchups that you want? Also, of course, if you decide to hit some threes again tonight, if you're Florida State, then this could get really fun for us. But I don't know if you're ready to count on that because we've hit so many recently. It feels like we're due for a clunker of a night.
You mentioned Clark. Well, I mean, there's a guy who clearly more than the rest, and the whole team does, but they miss Ty Jerome, and they miss Kyle Guy, and they miss. I mean, when you don't have that now, then the focus is greater on him, and he is not big.
Well, and Guy had 67 years of eligibility.
It seemed that way, didn't it?
They used it to the max.
He was also probably the most cocksure player they've ever had. I got to tell you, I've never seen a guy step to a free throw line with as much on the line and the net doesn't move. I mean, he was unreal. I got to give credit where credit's due. He was that guy.
I'm marking it down. That's our first use of cocksure in 2020.
Well,
Thank you, Jack Nicklaus.
You got to work it in as best you can.
If you could say that to Jack when he comes here to open up the golf
course, yeah.
Jack, I just always appreciate how cocksure you are about yourself.
Well, and how cocksure you and your team is when it comes to the design of this course. Oh, it's fun. It's funny to talk about what that guy represented. Virginia is missing these guys right now, and tonight's game, you know, I get emotional. I get so excited about what's at stake for Florida State. I got to calm myself down because I would really like to run them out of the building and reward what Leonard Hamilton's done in terms of embracing a different style of play late in his life or coaching life, as opposed to the younger coach who's won a national championship with this and yet insists on playing this mind-numbing brand of basketball.
There is an opportunity. Like, if you get into the half court and you play Virginia's style, right, and they get to dictate the flow of the game, which is to choke the life out of it, there is still an area that Florida State can murder Virginia if you look at the trends. Now, of course, tonight will be the night that they start to hit threes, which they're not good at all. I mean, really, they're awful at hitting from beyond the arc. So, of course, that means that they're going to hit him in spades tonight. They also turn the ball over at a rate that Tony Bennett is not accustomed to. If you look at steals per game rate, and that's, of course, turning the ball over from that perspective, Virginia is 330th in the country in turning the ball over via the steal. Live ball turnovers. When it comes to steals generated defensively,
they don't get any easy baskets, Tom, and that's why it's so arduous to watch them.
But it's live ball turnovers. It's not, passes over somebody's head. It's not offensive fouls. I mean, they're in the bottom 20 or 30 in the country in terms of giving the ball up in a live situation. Florida State is number 6 in the country in generating steals.
Right.
So you've got real chances tonight for fast break points for Florida State, and that could be a situation where if it holds to the trend, Florida State can win in those hidden and situationals.
You can run them out the building, Tom. You can absolutely do that. And with this
but
atmosphere,
they're going to hit threes with guys that are 18%.
They have it all year long. You're just predicting that because that's the annoying thing that could occur. Well, it's also what could occur when a team is locked in, focused, and desperate. And they're up against it a little bit here. You don't want to lose 3 straight, and they've looked bad in a lot of wins. So they're probably a little unsure of themselves right now. They'll come out swinging.
And you know what kind of threes they'll be? They'll be the kind of threes that we're clapping because it's been 25 seconds of a great half-court possession defensively. Kuechly.
He buries it.
And he's off balance at the buzzer on the shot clock, and that's the fourth one of the night of that kind.
It's going to make
cost you 2 minutes of game time for 4 threes.
We want to thank our Tallahassee Game Day Court Report sponsor, Lisa's Paint and Body Shop. Choose a body shop that is working for you and looking out for you, someone you can trust. Lisa's Paint and Body, located at 2820 Mahan Drive. More of the Tallahassee Game Day Report in a moment. 2020 Trent 10K, formerly the Trent Trot, in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts fourth grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which supports local families battling pediatric cancer. The foundation has supported 45-plus families to this date. The race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 25th, 2020. The 1 mile fun run starts at 8 a.m. and the 10K and 5K begin at 8:30 a.m. The 10K and 1 mile race are both Gulf Winds Grand Prix events. You can register online at eventbrite.com, search Trent 10K.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
Lisa's Paint and Body, now located at 2820 Mahan Drive. License number MV46050.
Lane's Medical Shop has all of your home medical needs. They carry home oxygen, hospital beds, nebulizers, walkers, wheelchairs, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and all sleep apnea supplies. Lane's also has a weight loss clinic in-house, no appointment necessary, including B12 injections and any prescriptions necessary with the lowest prices around, and delivers to Tallahassee and South Georgia. Located only 40 miles from Tallahassee, go see Blake today, 210 West Main Street, Colquitt, Georgia, 229-758-9111.
Check this out. If you pull up the list of draft beers that are bountiful, I might add, at Bumpa's Local 349, you will see, and I don't want to name names, but local, I'm still scrolling down, local, Tampa, Miami, statewide, all through it. And when you think about going to Bumpa's, you're thinking about supporting your local restaurants. Eat local, drink local, be local, all that. It's true. And to top it off, the fishy tacos.
The fishy tacos?
That's what they're called. They're not fishy in that sense, but they're called pure fishy is what I think it's called, and they're delicious.
See, when I think of Eddie's establishments, be it Bumpa's Local 349 or some of his other businesses around town, I think of businesses that give back to the community. And he's the type of Tallahassee citizen, and he's running the type of Tallahassee businesses that we need to support.
Yeah, and he supports us, so support the businesses that support us. And like he says, eat local, drink local, be local. Bumpa's Local 349.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
It's time for the Oliva Cigars tasting event at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Thursday, January 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. Try all the classic blends from Oliva with incredible discounts, exclusive deals, and great food and drinks. This event will be at the Cary Forest Parkway location. Stop by and bring a friend because you don't want to miss the amazing deals, exciting raffles, free swag, and all the fun. Don't miss the Jerry's Cigar Shop Oliva tasting event Thursday, January 30th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Only at Jerry's Cigar Shop on Cary Forest Parkway, Tallahassee's favorite cigar destination.
All right. Could Louis Anderson, the comedian,
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome. Is he
he's
alive?
not dead. Louis is fine.
No,
He's
John
actually in
Candy.
a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. Super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any kind of. He has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar?
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be, well.
Boars, I think they eat you, too, afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee Game Day Court Report is brought to you by Lisa's Paint and Body. Choose someone who is working with and looking out for you. Lisa's Paint and Body, 2820 Mahan Drive, just 0.2 of a mile west of Capitol Circle Northeast. Now, from Florida's capital city, here's ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Welcome back, Tallahassee Game Day Report, as we talk Florida State, Virginia for tonight. By the way, just as we kind of give you the overall preview here, the all-time series between these two programs tied at 25 all. Were you aware of that?
Yes, because it's always incrementally moving up one or the other. Like lead of one, tie, lead of one, tie. It just depends if it's Florida State who's ahead for, a couple months or if it's Virginia.
I was caught unawares that is the case. We only, I would have thought just because of the success that Virginia has had as a national champion, and then also in my youth, Virginia was a program that briefly there had an elite run as well because of Ralph Sampson. Mm-hmm. And I can remember what they were. I thought of them on a higher plane. Now, we weren't way back then in the ACC, but
I just remember when you hit these notes for so many years that we were trying to tie them for a while, and then we took a good lead, and then they came back and grabbed a tie with us, and then it's just always been neck and neck ever since. One of the more memorable wins in this series history for me has to be, it was either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. It was Dwayne Bacon's 3 on the road.
On the road, and he pulled up without conscience and knocked that thing down in and it was a deep 3. And I remember that had the feel of get you some of that.
It was at the end of the game after they hit a huge corner 3 themselves. Yeah. The announcers are still
Ponytail Boy hit that, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're winded from celebrating Virginia's 3 on the broadcast so much that the Bacon 3 got so much as and Bacon.
Yeah.
It was
goodness gracious.
It was like a Musburger's call of Benjamin's touchdown.
An afterthought. By the way, this is something else that I would note. It's 50 games all played since we joined the ACC in 1991, but we own a 15-8 record at the TLC CC. Virginia, same record, basically 15-9 in Charlottesville. Before the JPJ and all that good stuff, but the Cavs have a 2-1 edge against FSU in the ACC tournament. So this is about as even as we get. Virginia has won 7 of the last 10 games. They had a 3-game sweep in 2014. Prior to that, we were dominating the series. We had won 13 of 18, all under Leonard Hamilton from 03 to 13. And we only met once in the regular seasons. We traveled to the JPJ on January 5th in the game, which was over by halftime. And we were still within striking distance after the first 15. But anyhow, that said, we think about what happened in the ACC tournament. We were able to knock them off.
They played, too. They got in foul trouble in the first half. And we kept pushing, and they decided, all right, probably call the dogs off. But in the beginning, that was 2 teams battling to win that game. It mattered to Virginia, I think, to win every single game it could after the embarrassment of the prior season. But we were just too much for them in the ACC tournament last year.
You think about how that is. Florida State exploiting Clark, lack of size, defensive abilities. That's been the problem for Clark and Virginia this year. I mentioned them in the last segment, and that is something that I really think Florida State can exploit again tonight. This is I think I'm stopping short of saying what I'm thinking is going to happen here because I don't want to get carried away. I want to respect what Virginia is. They're the reigning national champions. They are well coached. But I really feel like there are matchups here that favor Florida State by a lot. One of them is that one. when you look at the guard play. I feel like Florida State could dominate this game.
But you got to hit your shots. That's the whole thing. If this is a brick fest, and we'll do that now every once in a while. We've been on a nice run of late, especially in the second half. This is, I guess, probably my obligatory PSA. If it's close or we're down at halftime, look at all the examples this season, Florida State fans. We pulled away from a lot of teams, caught up to and passed a couple of teams in the second half. We start slow sometimes. The hard part about this game is if you start slow against a team like Virginia, it's going to be 20-16 at the break.
Was the other night against Syracuse in a game they lost. It's hard to imagine when you look back at the entirety of a half that they played against Syracuse. I think they gave up at one point 20 points, I think, for the half. That's what they gave up in the overtime to lose the game. And the oddity there is if you think about them losing and the way that they did in overtime to Syracuse, they lose 63-55, so they really get run out in the overtime. You give up 20 points in the overtime, you only give up 63 for the game? I mean, that's...
It's called running out of gas.
It's ridiculous, though. You know, it's bizarre. I mean, 43 points in regulation, it's maddening. I just don't want to get bogged into that sort of game. By the way, Virginia has failed to score 65 points in any game this year. Jesus, come on.
If we make our shots, we'll be in good shape. It's like you say, we could potentially be on our rocking chairs to the second half.
Rocking chair game, baby.
But it's not always that simple because, regular season games mean different things to different teams. We've had a lot of rest. We had the weekend off. We've had all the time in the world to prepare for this game. That's our advantage. But their desperation is their advantage. They're 6.5-point dogs according to Vegas right now. I mean, that's unbelievable to think about. If you tipped off ACC play the normal time, say around New Year's, to think that in just a couple of weeks' time, Virginia would be a 6.5-point dog here at Florida State. We had yet to beat Louisville. They had yet to slip up as they have consistently in conference play. But here we are. They're not ranked for the first time in 2 years, and we're top 10.
It's a weird year. I'm looking right now while we're talking. I was just trying to get a grasp on what we're going to see tonight specific to what they are offensively and where they've struggled, and there are a lot of areas in which they've struggled. But if you just look at their wins, and you were ranking them by the RPI or the net, and you're trying to find the quality wins for Virginia, you have a road win against Syracuse, whom they've also now lost to. They won that game 48-34.
Yeah.
You can go to hell with that. That is ridiculous. They beat Vermont 61-55 in a war. They beat Arizona State 48-45. They beat North Carolina. Roy couldn't coach him up in that one, I guess. 56-47. 47 points. Virginia Tech, they beat 65-39. So, on the one hand, you kind of recoil at the offensive production or lack thereof in these wins. I mean, when you beat somebody and you score 48 points and you win the game comfortably, I don't know whether to compliment you or rip your ass. I mean, it's like, okay, well, that's great. You won by 14, but you scored 48 points. I mean, my God. And the same thing with that North Carolina win, 56-47. It's bizarre, right? But if I just were to name to you these other teams that the losing side's offensive efforts, it tells you how good Virginia can be on defense. Again, talking about 34, 45, 47, 39. Here's a whopping 4. That's bizarre. They have games where they completely suffocate people.
Right, and you wonder, is this a game where Florida State's offensive skill and their prowess, they can shoot their way to an advantage by themselves, or do they need some help from Virginia in order to pull away? This is something from the first segment. If you look at Virginia's turnover stats for the year, on the road, they're turning the ball over at nearly a 22% clip. I mean, that's massive. Last year, they were around 14% for the season. That puts you in the top 10, top 30 in the country, depending upon a given year. But you are in the upper echelon, the upper 10%. And they've fallen so far behind that.
Yeah, they're not efficient.
No, not at all.
Not in any way.
But if you're playing few possessions and you're turning the ball over on 20% of your possessions,
you can't win
on the road.
You can't beat good teams at all.
That is a recipe for disaster. So I'm sure the Virginia fans, if there are any in this town that are going to this game tonight, they're saying we better play a clean game offensively.
Well,
if we
speed them up.
They're going to kill us.
Well, speed them up. Speed them up. I mean, again, all you got to do is check KenPom. Tony Bennett does this every year. I didn't even need to look at it, but you can look at it. Tony Bennett's teams, this is what they do in terms of tempo. They are 353rd out of 353 Division I programs. That's why I rip them all the time. It's why Corey rips them all the time. It's why they're unwatchable at times. But when they were running that tempo, and they did so with their national championship team, They made shots. They got good looks. They never really settled. And they were efficient. Very, very efficient. They didn't turn it over. They were proficient on offense. They made the plays they had to make, and then they suffocated you on defense. That's how they won. Now they're turning it over, as you've just noted. They don't make shots. I mean, they're terrible from the field. So if you're not going to make shots and you're going to turn it over, you can play the greatest defense known to mankind. You're still going to lose games to teams that are at least going to be, middling on offense.
Yeah, you've got to play above what the numbers say. And then for Florida State, obviously it's about making your own shots, but then not turning the ball over. That's the other thing, too. I mean, how many times have we whistled for an offensive foul? How many times do we just give the ball up, turnover for a bad pass because their defense is contesting us in a way that we haven't seen? Is there a major adjustment period that takes 8 to 10 minutes? Or is it something that, all right, a couple of hiccups and then Trent Forrest is okay and Devin Vassell, they know how to handle the ball, get to the spots they need to kick out to the open looks? I mean, the path for Virginia is like a very narrow path, but there's only one to victory. It's through their defense, and it's playing above their heads on offense. And that probably gets them to, 62 points for the game? But you have to feel if you're Virginia, you get into the upper 50s, low 60s, you've got a real chance to win. If FSU is making their shots, you've got no chance. We can win this game like 5 different ways. They can win it one way.
Yeah, keep your eye on this. Couple things. First of all, if it is low scoring and we are in one of these classic battles that Virginia has, sufficiently slowed things down to keep themselves in the game and uglified it, I think, as you referred to it earlier, and that's a apt descriptor. If that happens, one good thing. We're here where we tend to find ways to win games no matter what the situation is. But Florida State as a whole, and this is worth noting because for a long time it was ammunition for those that wanted to criticize Leonard Hamilton, late game situations, coaching, all that. Well, we're not drawing up the right plays, all these kinds of things that used to be talked about. It's not something you can use any longer. Florida State is now, and this is a staggering number, 35-8 in one-possession games decided by 3 points or less in overtime since a 79-76 win over Duke back in 2012. You go back, you can look at this run now. Florida State has won the vast majority, 81% plus of these games in one possession.
To me, that's unbelievable. It speaks to situational coaching. That's got to be lucky to some degree, right?
It's getting good players.
And I'm not trying to discount the coaching and the players or the recruiting or the program. It's just one possession.
Every now and then you got to get lucky.
Overtime, not as much, because overtime, that's depth. That's the program being built. That's players.
I was just about to say some of this is the depth in the program, and the way they recruit it.
Right. I mean, just think last year we played Virginia Tech when Blackshear was on the team. And then we had McMahon went nuts, I think, in the second half for Louisville, hit a bunch of threes, and that was obviously War was on that team as well. We go to overtime, but we outlast them. It's just like that's what you would put if you were writing the game story. Florida State outlasts.
Yeah.
But in one-possession games, I feel like there's a stroke of luck in there to get you to that staggering number.
It is a staggering number. I would say that, yes, any team that is winning at an 82% clip in one-possession games has been the benefactor of some luck. I would also say there's usually a telltale sign as to how that's being done. You're recruiting better players, so the execution of in-game situations late better because guys get better looks. They're more proficient on offense. They get to the basket. They hit free throws, whatever it might be.
And again, I'm not trying to take away from the coaching staff. I'm just saying,
It's anything that's that high, right? The other thing I would say, so they've recruited better players. That helps when you have options. I think one of the things that happens with teams that win really close games is that they don't have to beat you one way. They've got 3 or 4 guys that can knock that shot down. So you spread out a defense, and they're really worried about this guy, but there are 2 other guys equally adept at hurting you. And Florida State has had balance on offense these last few years, and they have it again this year. There are multiple, 3, 4 guys that could really hurt you in an in-game situation. Florida State also, I think the key to winning all these one-possession games is they're stout defensively. They challenge everything. Yep. So in these moments where teams have had opportunities with the ball in their hand to win games, either they got the ball down 2, got the ball down 1. We've made stops.
Yes.
We've forced really ugly shots, and we've made stops.
Here's the difference just for tonight's sake to me, and I don't mean, it lessens Florida State's chances. It's just if we have to play smaller, which I doubt Dom's going to be on the court for 20, 25 minutes tonight, right? Yeah. If we have to play smaller as we have, and their defensive efficiency is the way it is, how do we crash the boards, and what do the numbers look like in that regard? Because there's nothing more, demoralizing then let's say you play perfect defense for 28 seconds, long three, long rebound. Virginia gets the board because they've got, bigger players on the floor, and they've just taken a minute 15 off the clock because they get 3 chances in a possession. How do we crash the boards, and do we have an advantage there? If we don't make shots on offense, do we get second chances? And then are they one and done when they shoot, or are they around the basket?
Yeah.
Because that, to me, you need hidden numbers to add up tonight. If you're trying to find a way for the Cavs to come out, get a landmark victory against a top 10 team in a place we don't lose. Like one of our 2 losses in our last however many games, right? 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Is to Virginia. You remember that moment.
Kyle Guy hit everything.
Well, he hit a big 3 with
on
like 1 second to
baseline.
go in the freaking shot clock. And that was a killer blow.
He also, remember, he started going to the baseline. He'd go to the basket via the baseline and hit those contested
Those
shots.
are better players than they have now.
Yeah,
but the formula, you're going to give yourself a better chance. It's like when Georgia Tech shortens the game of football. You're going to be in a lot of games because there aren't enough possessions to go separate yourself.
Yeah. No, that can be really annoying. And then if that frustration mounts and you've got younger players, you can really see all of a sudden the team fall to pieces and find yourself in one of these nightmare situations where it's 40-all with 2 to play. That's,
Oh, God. That is a nightmare.
I'm trying to mentally prepare people just in case, that's a possibility. It's a very real possibility. We thank our Tallahassee Game Day Court Report sponsor, Bud Light. The crisp taste of Bud Light perfectly accompanies all the madness this time of year. Please enjoy your Bud Light responsibly. A message from local Anheuser-Busch beverage distributor Tri-Eagle Sales. Tallahassee Game Day Report returns in a moment.
850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxy1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
Well, would you look at this goodness? Our friends at For the Table Hospitality are doing the right thing per usual. It's time for the 4th annual Tallahassee Wine Mixer and Mozfest. Tallahassee's best wine festival is back for another year right there in the shadow of beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. The date is Saturday, March the 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Centrale Pizza, Parm, and Bar. VIP tickets are just $60 and feature unlimited wine sampling, unlimited charcuterie, ooh, fancy, unlimited mozzarella cheese, oh, forget about it, this is good stuff, unlimited games, and a commemorative glass to boot. 2020 is going to be the best Tallahassee wine mixer yet. We'd certainly like to thank our friends at Visit Tallahassee for all of their help. For tickets, go to eventbrite.com and search Tallahassee Wine Mixer.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Sports fans, while you're rooting for your team this fall, show off your loyalty with Budget Printing. Budget Printing offers a variety of printing services and promotional items for you to show off your team pride, including koozies, t-shirts, banners, even hats and blankets. So while you're cheering for your team in the stands or in the comfort of your home, choose Budget Printing. Budget Printing, stop by our location on 1366 Bluntstown Street in Tallahassee or give us a call at 850-576-3332.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
I really need a new refrigerator, and I want to get the best deal. But there are so many options, I don't know which one to choose. I wish there was a way to make this simpler.
With so many choices, a major appliance purchase like this can be overwhelming.
The City of Tallahassee helps make the choice simple by offering rebates on Energy Star appliances. You can receive up to $300 in rebates on refrigerators, clothes washers, and more. Are you thinking about purchasing and installing a smart thermostat to help minimize your home energy costs? With the city's rebates, you can get up to $100 off eligible options. Stack your savings this holiday season by coupling in-store deals with rebates from the City of Tallahassee. Visit talgov.com/YOU. That's talgov.com/YOU. Or call 850-891-4968 to learn more. That's 850-891-4968.
One of my favorite things about being a member at Orange Theory Fitness is the sense of community. Initially, after taking the tour and seeing the state-of-the-art equipment, I was intrigued. I became convinced even once I researched the science-backed, technology-tracked, coach-inspired workouts, all of that. But what I didn't count on was the support, the sense of camaraderie shown by the members and the coaches. You realize pretty quickly you're not alone. And when you're pushing yourself through barriers and attempting to be your personal best, you can use all the help you can get. And it's there. It's amongst the members and coaches at Orange Theory Fitness. To learn more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com. Tallahassee Game Day Court Report is brought to you by Bud Light. 4 simple ingredients, 1 great taste. Enjoy responsibly. Here's ESPN Tallahassee's Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Welcome back. Tallahassee Game Day Court Report / Jeff Cameron Show, Court Report, all that good stuff. It's the final hour, final segment of Final Hour, in which we'll make some predictions here before we round out the show. That's always dicey, kind of weird, right? But we'll make predictions, not grandiose, spot-on score predictions, just predictions of a win or a loss. And it'll be brought to you by our friends at Lane's Medical Shop. Yes, with locations in Colquitt and Blakely, Lane's Medical Shop offers all your medical supply needs and will even deliver to you with emergency service available. Lane's Medical Shop, 229-308-5811. I've been emboldened, Tom, as we've done the court report here. I got to tell you, I feel like Florida State's going to win the game comfortably, which means it will not happen. But I really do feel good. I think the matchup's all wrong for Virginia. If I were doing the Virginia version of this show, I'd say, well, it's the wrong opponent to try to get right against tonight, guys. On the road, hey, they don't lose in that place we're playing, and they're filled with confidence. They've also had the weekend off, and they've won 7 straight.
And it's an atmosphere. It's a real atmosphere these days. The student tickets sold out really quickly. I saw earlier today. It said very limited in all caps. Lower bowl seating available. Just for the general admission. This is going to be a rocking place tonight. We're celebrating a top 10 program. To me, I think the key, obviously, is Trent Forrest and Devin Vassell getting to their spots. Can they do the same thing they did against Louisville? Even if it's not quite the level of efficient, it doesn't have to be, because the threat of Virginia coming down and scoring and transition on us is not nearly the same as it was for Louisville. They don't have Jordan Wara, who's going to hit his first 7 shots of the game, like the superstar, like a superstar that follows through, like Kyle Guy did for so long for them, like Jerome did for them so long. They don't have that dude. If that happens, well, then crazy stuff is afoot at the TLC-CC, which is exactly what needs to happen if Virginia's going to walk away.
Blind resume, if I just laid it out there, we sat down at the bar, cozied on up to have a beer, and we were getting ready to go to the game. And I said, listen, let's just remove the names off the jerseys here. And Team A is averaging 55 points a game. They give up 48 a game. So right off the bat, you'd say, well, they're good defensively.
Is this Harvard?
They shoot a clip at under 40% from the field, meaning their offense is under 40% from the field. They average 35.5 rebounds a game and 11 assists a game, 4 blocks, 5 steals, nearly 6 steals, and they've lost 2 straight. The other team, averaging 76.4 points per game. They do give up 63 a game, but they're clipping in at about 47% field goal percentage. They, right there with them, 34 rebounds a game, 13.5 assists, 5.5 blocks to 9.5 steals as well. 9.5 steals number is staggering, and they've won 7 straight. You would just say, well, obviously, give me Team B there, Charlie, because that team is much more efficient offensively. They play an aggressive form of defense that leads to a lot of steals and easy baskets, And I'm feeling good about them in a tight ball game at home because that's the other part of this. We know how well we play because of the aforementioned atmosphere. And Vegas feels that way too. They have gone ahead and made Florida State a 6.5-point favorite here. So I'm not surprised by that. If you take Virginia tonight, you're getting plus 230 on the money line for you sporting guys or gals.
Yeah, again, the key number to me is, does the trend about Virginia's live ball turnovers and Florida State's generation of steals, I mean, if you're averaging 10 a game nearly, that's crazy. If those things continue to play out, then I don't know how Virginia can catch us because we're going to run away and hide. But we'll see.
You see that this over-under is a big number to you? To me, it is. I would play the under here at 114.5.
Play the under at 114.5?
Mm-hmm. Total for the game is 114.
If it goes over, we're kicking the crap out of them. Or if it goes into triple overtime.
Yeah, no, if it goes over, we're dropping 70 on them. And
yeah.
I could see, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one, but I feel like I would take the under there.
You know, it matters, too. I did take a look at the officials for tonight, and Jamie Lucky is not among them.
Good.
TV Teddy is not among them.
Okay.
Guys I don't recognize. One of them has last name Cassell, so maybe that bodes well for us. But how the game is called matters, too, because it can disjoint the game by itself before you even get into Virginia's tempo. But we've seen officials get involved in many ways. You know, the one game, honestly, that you didn't see him at all, Louisville. And what happened? That was Louisville's worst nightmare, that game was just played up and down, up and down.
Well, those officials were my favorite officials to ever monitor a basketball contest.
It was fine that we didn't shoot free throws until 10 minutes to go in the second half or whatever.
I had no problem with it.
Because you know why? We were more dominant in the actual course of play.
Well, they let athletes decide the game. I mean, that was the thing, is that they played big boy basketball, but they were consistent. That's all I really ever ask. And if you're going to be consistent, side with something that allows for a flow to happen. I mean, when you're consistently whistling contact and you don't allow for a flow to happen, the game is disjointed. You take away athleticism. The beauty of the game is stripped from the contest immediately. And that's the problem I have. If you're going to side with any form of consistency, which is the goal here, do so on the side that lets guys play the game. I think both sides, I don't care what kind of team you are, that's what you would always want. If you grow up playing basketball, you would like to play the game that showcases the ability to get up and down the floor. Now, stylistically, if you choose to slow it down, that's fine. Just don't have it be caused by the herky-jerky nature of foul, action, foul, action, foul, action, foul, action, meaning nothing ever gets into a flow where two teams are allowed to play to the extent of, I come down, shot, miss rebound, you get the rebound, you come down. Hey, we're playing here. Great, look at this. There's been 5 possessions and no whistle. We got a game of basketball that's broken out. That's ideally what everybody wants to see. I think it allows to illuminate the beauty of the game.
I think a lot of times when I crunch a week's worth of schedules for a college basketball team, I take a look. What are they coming off of? What are they going to? Is it a quick turnaround? Is it a routine turnaround? Honestly, even if we had played on the weekend, this is the nice way to play basketball, Wednesday, Saturday. Very nicely laid out for you. But we've had time and a half to prepare for this Virginia game.
Worry a little bit about rust, though. I do. I mean, that time is a good thing. You always welcome it. You get geared up. You're rested. It certainly benefits you long term. But you do worry about coming out and being a little off.
That's true. If Virginia was the type of team that could score 90 in a night, like an NC State team, those teams would win, 7-8 conference games, but they could still score 85 on you if you weren't careful. Yeah. So you got to be on edge about that. This group, if you're a little rusty, all right, 6-0. 6-0 at the under 16.
We'll be all right. It's,
right.
It's 13-10 with 3 minutes to play in the half. We're all right.
And then what are we looking forward to? Saturday, a sleepy 1 p.m. tip against Miami on the road on Saturday. This is the one. This is the one you circle for the week. And so, therefore, I think it'll have our full attention.
If you beat Virginia tonight, you gain your 4th win over the Cavaliers in the last 6 games between the two. That says something about where your program's at yet again. The Noles are 3-2 against the Cavaliers since that 69-62 win at home, 2018, January 17th. We also, of course, beat them. They were the number 2 ranked team in the country, 69-59 in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. If you win this game here, you'll win your 8th consecutive game on the season. That would be the second year in a row that Florida State has had a winning streak of at least 8 games. So they're making it a habit of stringing together these winning streaks that create momentum and real buzz around a program.
If we continue to make our perimeter shots, that's great. I would never turn those away, and that's going to help you win. But if we can get to our spots in the half court, if Trent Forrest can get to his spots, and if we get the ball to Devin Vassell in some space, and then he can maneuver his way into a good scoring area inside the arc, and we're making those shots against this defense, I will officially start to get nervous about where this team could go.
Yeah, because all of a sudden the potential is a Final Four.
Against that defense, against what the numbers they put up efficiency-wise.
Well, and Louisville plays a pack line defense, and we noted what we did to them. Listen, MJ Walker, you got a chance to make the host of this here show awfully nervous as well. I have praised you, young man. Tough Love Cameron has not had to make an appearance this year. I feel like his presence in years past has led to this wonderful performance, that and your due diligence, hard work, all that good stuff. But if he comes out and is making shots again the way he has frequently this year, and one of the things that I like about it is, listen, he doesn't have to carry it over to the second half. You know, if he just has a half where he's on fire like that, that'll work. That'll work because he's always going to play good defense. He's always going to give you something on that end. So if he's going to give you 12 to 16 in a night because he gets hot,
right?
Okay.
That's what he did against Wake. He had a good first half. He came out guns a-blazing. Second half, not really until the very, very end.
Yeah.
But yes, it gets you. It gets you to a place where Vassell can take over.
Right.
That's the whole concept of a team.
Pass it around.
But if Trent gets to his spots tonight, man, I mean, in the beginning of the season, it looks like he's in 4-4 time, and the rest of the team's in 6-8. Yeah, but nobody's in sync.
Who's getting it? Who's keeping him off his spot? There's nobody strong enough in the league. There's nobody strong enough in the league to keep him getting off his spot. When he gets there, and he will get there. Now, he's got to make shots, but when he does, we're real hard to beat. I mean, that's a problem now because you can't keep him.
It looked like they were in slow motion at Louisville. This is a different level. Like Mac at the end, you could see it was like fundamentally we're not good enough at guard. That's basically what he was saying to the people.
I don't know that they're good enough at guard here.
They got one small dude. There's no doubt about that.
And teams are taking advantage of him.
But I mean, clearly, other teams are not shooting at a clip. I mean, the numbers say their expected field goal percentage is like 34, 36%, somewhere in there.
No. They're an all-time great defense statistically speaking right now. They really are. That's the only reason they have the record that they do. They're 11-4. I mean, they did. I've maybe made the mistake of describing them as if they're some sort of ass-sorry team. Look, they're 11-4, but they do come in unranked for the first time in a while. They have lost 2 straight, and they've really struggled to score it. So it's a fair descriptor. It's just that they have some good to them, and it's all on the defensive side.
Score on these guys, you can score on anybody.
Well, yeah. I mean,
with efficiency, I'm talking. Ooh, buddy.
No, I get nervous about it. I do, because I want so much for this team to go on yet another run, and to do it this year is different than each of the last 2 years. I mean, because you lost so much on offense. I mean, when you lost Mann and Cabangeli alone, you were like, "Are you kidding me?" Now throw in what Kofor meant to this team when he was healthy, and Nichols and. You lost so much.
One more year, Nichols, he was leaps and bounds by the end of the season.
But then think what happened to this poor team last year. Nichols got hurt, and that killed us. Kofor's situation, tragic as it was with his father passing plus
Nichols
injuries.
was unconscious in the ACC tournament.
I mean, it was awful. Think of what they would have been able to do if they didn't have so many guys get hurt.
Yeah, I know.
And they still did what they did.
Yeah, you're still on the brink of going to an Elite Eight
again.
With the, hobbled bunch.
Yeah,
they know that too. They feel it.
Yeah, no, it's a hungry group, and they're experienced in the backcourt. And one guy is the biggest key tonight, because I think he is every night. Now that they have discovered some rhythm here, and they have a sense of what the other does, Trent Forrest really dictates terms in most of these basketball games, and it's one of the things that you love to see. I hate it when I look out on a court and I see a team with an experienced point guard who makes all the right decisions, because that's not something really you can easily overcome on a consistent basis. We have that guy. We have that guy, and that's why I'm pumped up. That's why I got a chance to win 8 straight for the second year in a row. It's why you got a chance to be right there with Duke, tied atop the ACC all alone. This has been Tallahassee Game Day Court Report. We want to thank our sponsors, AAA Tree Service. We want to thank Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, and we want to thank our friends at Bud Light and Triangle Sales as well. Good work out of you, Tom. Good work, Matthew. Thanks to all of you for listening. And Front Row Knowles up next. Listen to that as you get set to tailgate. Make your way on over to the TLC and watch the Choo Choo take care of business. We'll be here to talk about the results one way or the other tomorrow. Talk to you then. Go Knowles.